The life of every Sannin. The Sannin are 3 renowned ninja from Konohagakure, hailed as the greatest of their time. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over the life of every Sannin. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. We've noticed that YouTube seems to be unsubscribing some people from channels that they're previously subscribed to, so if you can do us a big favor and check that you're still subscribed, it would mean a lot. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. Before we get into every individual Sannin's life, let's briefly go over the group as a whole. Overview. As Genin, the 3 were teamed up together under the leadership of Hiruzen Sarutobi, the 3rd Hokage. For one of their earlier training exercises, Hiruzen gave them a bell test. Jiraiya failed to get a bell, he repeatedly fell for Hiruzen's traps, and was tied to a stump as punishment. During their time as Hiruzen's students, they all learned to use the summoning technique, which they perform with their left hands. Despite being a team and having accomplished great things together, the 3 members were always in constant disagreement with one another, which Tsunade referred to as a 3-way deadlock. Once they became skilled ninja, able to look after themselves, Hiruzen's team disbanded. Despite the official dissolution of their team, the 3 continued to work together during the Second Shinobi World War. During one battle with Amagakure's Hanzo, they were the only Konoha ninja to survive Hanzo's attacks. As a reward for this, Hanzo dubbed them Konoha's legendary Sannin. However, that same battle was the last one the 3 of them fought together. Jiraiya decided to remain in Ame to repent for his part in the war. The horrors of war badly affected Tsunade as well, prompting her to abandon the life of a ninja. Tsunade had left Konoha by the time of Jiraiya's return, and Orochimaru would eventually leave the village as well, a consequence of his criminal activities. Jiraiya tried and failed to convince Orochimaru to return, and subsequently dedicated himself to monitoring Orochimaru's activities, a task that took him away from Konoha for long periods of time. Because of their skills, each of the Sannin have been considered for the position of Hokage at one time or another. When Hiruzen decided to retire, Orochimaru applied to replace him as 4th Hokage. He was declined for the position as Hiruzen felt that Orochimaru lacked understanding of what it means to be a ninja of Konoha. Following the death of the 4th Hokage, Hiruzen wished for Jiraiya to become the 5th, but Hiruzen was unable to locate him. Following Hiruzen's death, the Konoha Council selected Jiraiya to be the 5th Hokage, but he declined out of lack of interest. He proposed Tsunade for the position instead, which she is ultimately convinced to accept. When Tsunade was rendered comatose following Pain's assault, the Land of Fire's daimyo remarks that he would have liked Jiraiya to replace her as the 6th, but Jiraiya was already dead. Despite the rivalry that existed between Orochimaru and Jiraiya, the constant arguing between Jiraiya and Tsunade, and Orochimaru's defection from Konoha placing him at odds with both Jiraiya and Tsunade, the 3 nevertheless remained attached to each other. When rumors of Orochimaru's death reached Konoha, Jiraiya and Tsunade discussed it together with disbelief and sadness. Tsunade anticipated she would have a similar reaction were anything to happen to Jiraiya, and she did indeed cry following his death. When Tsunade learned that Orochimaru was still alive, she blamed him for Jiraiya's death, believing Jiraiya would still be alive had Orochimaru not betrayed Konoha. Orochimaru, though he noted remorse for Jiraiya, argued it was better that things happened as they did. Otherwise, Jiraiya may not have remained the quality shinobi that he was. With that out of the way, let's get into the group's leader, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Hiruzen Sarutobi was the 3rd Hokage of Konohagakure. A disciple of the village's 2 previous Hokage, Hiruzen was a powerful ninja, hailed as a god of shinobi. Though he was only ever directly the teacher of the Sannin, generations of Konoha shinobi benefited from his wisdom during his lifetime. Background. Hiruzen was born the son of Sasuke Sarutobi. The Sarutobi clan was one of the first clans to settle in the newly created Konohagakure, where Hiruzen struck up a friendship with the Shimura clan's Danzo Shimura. Hiruzen was part of the first generation of ninja produced by Konoha, and he, Homura Mitokado, and Koharu Utatane were placed under the tutelage of Tobirama Senju. Hiruzen early on displayed prodigious talent in the ninja arts, earning him additional training from Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage. At the same time, Danzo became jealous of Hiruzen's skills and started a one-sided rivalry in an effort to surpass him. During the First Shinobi World War, Tobirama, by that time the 2nd Hokage, led a team consisting of Hiruzen, Homura, Koharu, Danzo, Kagami Uchiha, and Torifo Akamichi. During a mission, they started to be pursued by Kurogakure's Kinkaku force, an enemy that somebody would need to distract and inevitably die at the hands of in order for the rest of the team to escape. Hiruzen volunteered to be the decoy, boasting that, as the strongest of their group, he stood the best chance of surviving the encounter. Nevertheless, he asked Danzo to look after the others. Tobirama volunteered himself instead, and before going to his death, he appointed Hiruzen as the third Hokage. In the anime, Hiruzen permitted Danzo to create Root, a more ruthless subdivision of the Anbu under Danzo's exclusive control, shortly after he became Hokage in order to balance the shortcomings of his empathetic rule. For years, he had ignored Root's questionable foreign ops, its abduction of children, and the actions it took against Konoha personnel, Hiruzen included. At some point, Hiruzen married Biwako, and they had a son, Asuma, and at least one other child who became an Anbu. Hiruzen also started leading his own team of new academy graduates consisting of Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade. Though he was close with all of his students, Hiruzen had the highest hopes for Orochimaru, a genius like himself who, after the deaths of his parents, was only further motivated to have a deep impact on the world. Hiruzen led Konoha's forces through the Second and Third Shinobi World Wars. In the anime, his choosing to end the Third Shinobi World War by signing a peace treaty with Iwagakure despite the losses Konoha suffered incensed Danzo, prompting Hiruzen to step down as Hokage against the village's protests. Hiruzen had long hoped that Orochimaru would succeed him as Hokage, but despite his best efforts, he could never convince him of the will of fire, that Konoha was a family that the Hokage had to risk everything to keep safe. Unable to choose Orochimaru, Hiruzen considered Jiraiya as his successor, but Jiraiya did not believe he was responsible enough. Hiruzen ultimately settled on Jiraiya's former student, Minato Namikaze, who had proven himself time and time again during the Third Shinobi World War. Hiruzen assisted Minato with the transition of power by advising him on how to handle individuals and other village matters. He even retained some of his own Anbu, several of which he assigned as security while Kushina Uzumaki, the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails, gave birth. Despite their precautions, the Nine-Tails escaped and attacked the village. Hiruzen led the village's defense until Minato arrived to remove the Nine-Tails to a safe distance. Hiruzen followed and, cut off by the adamantine sealing chains, could only watch as Minato and Kushina gave their lives to seal the Nine-Tails into their newborn son, Naruto. Minato did not have time to tell Hiruzen how the Nine-Tails had escaped, instead using his final moments of his life to ask Konoha via Hiruzen to think of Naruto as a hero who saved the village, and not the container of the monster that killed so many. Hiruzen did so, but the villagers proved unable to follow Minato's wishes, prompting Hiruzen, now the village's Hokage once more, to outlaw any mention of the Nine-Tails, an effort to protect Naruto from their misguided hate. He also gave Naruto his mother's surname in order to hide his relation to Minato from Minato's enemies. Hiruzen eventually started investigating a number of disappearances throughout Konoha. In the anime, he followed a lead provided by Kakashi Hatake, which ultimately led him to discover that Orochimaru was behind it all. Hiruzen was dismayed not only by Orochimaru's role or that he was experimenting on those he kidnapped, but also his reasons to create an eternal youth and immortality technique. He attempted to apprehend Orochimaru but could not bring himself to strike down his favorite student and allowed him to escape. From examining what Orochimaru left behind, a young boy imbued with Hashirama Senju's wood release was discovered, and over the years this boy became one of Hiruzen's top Anbu operatives. In the anime, the boy was previously discovered by Danzo, and Hiruzen negotiated the boy's release into Hiruzen's care. Because Minato never had the opportunity to explain the cause of the Nine-Tails attack, Konoha's leadership came to suspect a member of the Uchiha clan was responsible due to the Sharingan's ability to control the Nine-Tails. The Uchiha resented this suspicion and began planning a coup d'etat, something reported to Hiruzen and the Konoha Council by Itachi Uchiha. Hiruzen attempted to peacefully resolve the conflict, but negotiations consistently stalled. Danzo eventually stepped in without Hiruzen's knowledge and ordered Itachi to slaughter the Uchiha. Hiruzen only learned of the mission afterwards when Itachi reported its successful completion. Before needing to publicly leave the village as a criminal in order to hide Konoha's involvement in the Uchiha's destruction, Itachi asked Hiruzen to look after his younger brother, Sasuke, the only Uchiha who he could not bring himself to kill. Hiruzen agreed. In the anime, Hiruzen also promised not to change the village barrier's formula, enabling Itachi to sneak in from time to time to watch Sasuke from afar. Danzo's role in the Uchiha's assassination was not something Hiruzen could abide by, and as such he ordered Root be disbanded. About 5 years after the Nine-Tailed Fox's attack on the village, Hiruzen had a disagreement with his son Asuma, leading the latter to leave to pursue his personal interests. Prologue, Land of Waves. When Naruto fails the Academy's graduation exam yet again, Hiruzen takes Naruto's instructor Iruka Umino aside and advises him to be compassionate towards Naruto because of his lack of parents, something Iruka had similar experiences with. When Naruto shortly afterwards breaks into the Hokage residence and steals the Scroll of Seals, and also defeats Hiruzen with the sexy technique, Hiruzen has no choice but to mobilize a search party to apprehend Naruto. From observing events, Hiruzen learns of Naruto's manipulation by Mizuki, and watches as Iruka finally shows kindness towards Naruto by protecting him from Mizuki. He calls off the search party when it becomes clear that Naruto will return, but Hiruzen worries that Naruto's learning of the multiple shadow clone technique from the scroll will risk the Ninetales' escape from his body. From his concern over the Ninetales, as well as his disappointment that one of Naruto's first accomplishments as a genin is to invent the harem technique, Hiruzen assigns Kakashi Hatake as Naruto's team leader, so that Kakashi can guide him appropriately, as well as look over one of Naruto's teammates, Sasuke Uchiha. Despite Kakashi's efforts, Naruto remains obstinate, complaining to Hiruzen about how easy their first D-rank mission was. When Naruto is unwilling to listen to the explanations of how missions are assigned according to rank and skill level, both of which Naruto has little of at the moment, Hiruzen agrees to give the team a C-rank mission, escorting Tazuna to the Land of Waves. Chunin exams. Hiruzen calls together the village's Jonin team leaders and informs them that Konoha will be hosting the next Chunin exams, an opportunity for their genin charges to be promoted to Chunin. He asks that these Jonin assemble who believe their students are ready for the challenge of the exam submit their students' names. He begins with the team leaders of the academy's most recent. Hiruzen is called to the Forest of Death during the exam's second stage by its proctor, Anko Mitarashi. She reports Orochimaru's infiltration of the exams and his warnings to not call off the exams due to his appearance. Suspecting that Orochimaru is after Sasuke Uchiha, Hiruzen has no choice but to allow things to go as planned. He watches the preliminary matches, noting the growth of not only Naruto and Sasuke, but all of Konoha's genin. Once the preliminaries conclude, he presides over the assignment of first-round matchups in the finals before they adjourn. In the month prior to the finals, Hiruzen grows increasingly worried. Not only is he unsure of what Orochimaru and his underlings are planning, but it's also apparent that one of the hidden rival villages is conspiring against Konoha as well, possibly in tandem with Orochimaru. What's more, Hiruzen does not believe that he, nor anyone else in Konoha for that matter, has the skills necessary to meet Orochimaru in battle. To clear his head, he visits his grandson's, Konohamaru's, class, and is reminded of how important protecting the village and its citizens is to him. When the finals begin, Hiruzen sits and watches with the 4th Kazekage, the only other Kage whose village has representatives competing. Hiruzen, as host, remains pleasant towards the Kazekage and tries to assure him that there are no issues when the schedule for the finals increasingly does not go as planned. Konoha Crush. The last match of the first round of the finals is interrupted by an invasion of Konoha. Hiruzen is taken hostage and separated from his bodyguards by the Kazekage. Hiruzen tries to negotiate with the Kazekage until he realizes it's actually Orochimaru in disguise. Orochimaru wants to fight and kill Hiruzen, his former teacher, and has his followers erect a barrier so that the Anbu cannot come to Hiruzen's defense. Hiruzen is glad that nobody will interrupt them and removes his robes, revealing his combat attire underneath. Orochimaru decides he wants Hiruzen to share in the experience of fighting one's predecessors, and as such reincarnates the first and second Hokage. The Hokage greet Hiruzen in the brief moments before Orochimaru suppresses their personalities. Hiruzen attacks, but he has difficulty overcoming their defenses, and he must summon Enma to help block the first's wood release. He and Enma try to strike Orochimaru directly, but the Hokage block him. Despite failing to reach Orochimaru, Hiruzen is able to plant exploding tags on the Hokage's leg, but their reincarnated bodies cause them to quickly regenerate. Realizing he has few options left, Hiruzen prepares to use the dead demon-consuming seal. Orochimaru takes him by surprise before he can do anything by removing his own face, revealing a new body, the completion of his research, and the same fate he has planned for Sasuke. Hiruzen is disgusted by the levels Orochimaru has sunk to and his own responsibility in allowing Orochimaru to escape years earlier. In order to rectify the mistakes he's made at long last, Hiruzen makes 2 shadow clones that first catch the 2 Hokage, and then use the dead demon-consuming seal to remove their souls. The Hokage's personalities return to them briefly, and they apologize for the hassle they've caused, just as Hiruzen apologizes to them for the prison he's sentenced them to. Their souls are consumed by the Shinigami. Orochimaru is amused by their defeat, unaware of what's happening, and bids Hiruzen to try the same on him. Hiruzen and Enma disarm him of his Kusanagi, and Hiruzen starts performing the seal on him. When Orochimaru senses his soul's removal, he summons the Kusanagi back to him, causing it to lodge in Hiruzen despite Enma's attempts to intercept it. Although stabbing Hiruzen has stopped the removal of his soul, Orochimaru cannot move in order to finish Hiruzen off. Orochimaru encourages him to die, but Hiruzen, doomed to die anyway for invoking the Shinigami, ignores him, instead trying to muster up the strength to finish sealing Orochimaru. After an hour passes with no progress, Hiruzen accepts the fact that he won't be able to complete the seal. He decides to do what little he can to put an end to Orochimaru's plans and protect the village. He has the Shinigami seal Orochimaru's arms, preventing their use. As Orochimaru curses him, Hiruzen dies smiling, hoping he will see Orochimaru again in the next life. Fourth Shinobi World War Climax. Orochimaru releases the souls of the first 4 Hokage from the stomach of the Shinigami, an act that also restores his arms. At Sasuke Uchiha's request, he then reincarnates the Hokage. Hiruzen worries that Orochimaru now plans to use him to destroy Konoha, but is instead questioned by Sasuke about the Uchiha clan downfall. Hiruzen confirms the truth of what Itachi Uchiha did and explains that he only did so on the condition that Hiruzen would keep Sasuke safe in the aftermath. From hearing what has transpired since his death, Sasuke killing Danzo Shimura, and Madara Uchiha emerging to start the Fourth Shinobi World War, Hiruzen feels guilty that things maybe could have been avoided had he taken different actions while he was alive. Hearing from the Hokage and reflecting on his own experiences, Sasuke decides he doesn't want Konoha to be destroyed, as is Madara's current intention. Orochimaru releases the Hokage from his control so they can help in this goal, and they set out for the site of the allied shinobi forces' battle with the Ten Tails. When they arrive, the Hokage erect a barrier around the Ten Tails to confine it. Hiruzen must remain within the barrier to maintain it, so he can only watch as Obito Uchiha seals the Ten Tails into his body, becoming its Jinchuriki. Birth of the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. With his new power, Obito rips down the barrier, finally allowing Hiruzen to participate in the fight. From Obito's display, it's obvious to Hiruzen that he is stronger than even the first Hokage. He therefore personally engages Obito so that nobody else needs to put their lives at risk, taking advantage of the fact that he's already dead to analyze Obito's tactics. By observing Obito's truth-seeking balls, he theorizes that they're similar to the third Tsuchikage's Kekkei Tota, in that they are a combination of multiple nature transformations. He also postulates that the truth-seeking balls have limits in the duration of their malleability, but his upper body is destroyed immediately after that. It takes Hiruzen a great deal of time for his body to regenerate. When he finally does, he summons Enma, has him transform, and then quickly saves Naruto Uzumaki from the Ten Tails Tree Form's chakra-absorbing roots. When Orochimaru later arrives in the battlefield, they join together to help the allies in the counter-offensive against Obito, first by blocking and cutting back more and more of the tree's roots and branches, and then by assisting in pulling the tailed beasts from Obito's body. Their combined efforts succeed, and Obito is defeated. The allied shinobi forces are shortly afterwards attacked by Tobi. With everyone too tired from their prolonged fighting to defend themselves, Hiruzen and 4 of his shadow clones arrive to help, counterbalancing Tobi's elemental attacks with their own. Tobi withdraws once the infinite Tsukiyomi is about to be cast, having completed its job of distracting the allies. Kaguya Otsutsuki strikes. As the world is wrapped up by God, nativity of a world of trees, Hiruzen, unaffected because he is dead, tries to free Tsunade but fails. He and the other Hokage converge at the location of a powerful chakra signature, but only find Madara Uchiha's lower half, from which emerges the Sage of the Six Paths. Combining efforts with the spirits of the other dead Kage, they summon Team 7, Madara, and the tailed beasts back from Kaguya's dimension. With the world saved, the Sage returns all the Kage to the Pure Land. As his soul ascends, Hiruzen entrusts the future to Team 7. Jiraiya.
Jiraiya was one of Konohagakure's Sannin. Famed as a hermit and pervert of stupendous ninja skill, Jiraiya traveled the world in search of knowledge that would help his friends, the various novels he wrote, and posthumously the world in its entirety. Knowledge that would be passed down to his godson and final student, Naruto Uzumaki. Background. After he graduated from Konoha's Ninja Academy, Jiraiya was teamed with Orochimaru and Tsunade under the leadership of Hiruzen Sarutobi. Hiruzen gave them a test for the team's first exercise, during which Jiraiya repeatedly fell for Hiruzen's tricks, and for failing to acquire the bell, he was tied to a stump as punishment. Hiruzen encouraged Jiraiya to be more like Orochimaru, but Jiraiya countered that his transparent escape technique was a fair testament to his skills, as he could spy on bathing women without getting caught. Hiruzen offered to accompany him to see if this was true. Jiraiya had a certain interest in Tsunade from their first meeting, and when the boobies got bigger, she became a frequent target of his peeping. She nearly killed him when she caught him on one occasion, forcing him to be more discreet about his interests. Jiraiya at some point discovered Mount Myoboku, the residence of the Toads. In the anime, he was brought there when he tried to summon a toad without first having a contract with them. Fukasaku trained Jiraiya in their ways, most prominently Senjutsu. While he was at Mount Myoboku, the Great Toad Sage made a prediction about Jiraiya, that he would travel the world and during that time meet the Child of the Prophecy, a student who would grow up to either save or destroy the world depending on how Jiraiya taught them. Although their team under Hiruzen's leadership had disbanded, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade continued fighting together during the Second Shinobi World War. During one such fight in Amagakure, they were the only three to survive an encounter with Hanzo, for which accomplishment Hanzo dubbed them Konoha's legendary Sannin. After the battle, three war orphans approached them and asked to be taught ninjutsu. Jiraiya, guilty for his involvement in the war, decided to stay in Ame for a time in order to look after them. Shortly after he joined them, he discovered that one of the orphans, Nagato, possessed the Rinnegan, once used by the Sage of Six Paths to save the world. Jiraiya decided that Nagato was the child of the prophecy, and as such agreed to teach the orphans ninjutsu so that he might guide Nagato towards the world's salvation. Nagato was a kind child, torn between his desire to not hurt others and his wish to protect Yahiko and Konan. Jiraiya comforted Nagato that it was enough to want to protect people one holds to be important, as the world is plagued with seemingly endless conflict. Nagato decided that it was possible to end the constant bloodshed, and, though he didn't know how, that he would someday find the path to peace. Jiraiya was inspired by Nagato's words and started writing what would become the tale of the utterly gutsy shinobi. After 3 years of training the orphans, Jiraiya decided that they were ready to forge out on their own, and he returned to Konoha. He left them a finished copy of Gutsy Shinobi, dedicated to Nagato. News of the orphans' deeds would reach him from time to time, but eventually he heard that they'd all died. At some point, Jiraiya was made Jonin and led a genin team of his own. He started to suspect that one of them, Minato Namikaze, might be the child of prophecy because of his natural genius. As such, he took Minato as his disciple and taught him many of his skills. Minato would eventually teach Jiraiya the Rasengan. And, unfortunately, Gutsy Shinobi did not sell well when it was released. Eventually, Jiraiya found his writing style when he created the adult novels called Icha Icha. The novels were based on his personal experiences in love, particularly his rejections by Tsunade. Retold in a comical way, the books were wildly popular, giving his checkbook a balance that is filled with zeros. Minato, selected as Konoha's fourth Hokage after Jiraiya refused the position, enjoyed the book. Finding the main character very much like Jiraiya, he decided to name his and Kushina Uzumaki's then unborn son Naruto after the main character, hoping that their Naruto would be just as determined as the character, and thus its author. Jiraiya tried to convince them not to, since that would make him Naruto's godfather, but Minato and Kushina insisted this was a good thing. Minato died during the Nine-Tailed Demon Fox's attack, giving his life to seal the Nine-Tails into the newborn Naruto. As one of his last acts, Minato sent Jiraiya Geratora, on whose stomach he wrote the key to Naruto's seal. Jiraiya guessed that Minato wanted him to help Naruto gain control of the Nine-Tails' power, though he couldn't guess what that power would be needed for. Although Orochimaru had always been his better, someone that Hiruzen pointed to as an example for Jiraiya to live up to, Jiraiya considered Orochimaru to be one of his closest friends. For this reason, when Orochimaru eventually defected from Konoha, Jiraiya pursued him and tried to convince him to return. Orochimaru refused and attacked Jiraiya in order to secure his escape. For a time, Jiraiya tried to find a deeper meaning in Orochimaru's betrayal, something that, if changed, would bring Orochimaru back. He could ultimately come up with nothing. From that point forward, Jiraiya started following Orochimaru's movements as well as those of Akatsuki, an organization which Orochimaru eventually joined. His investigations often took him away from the village, preventing Jiraiya from becoming 5th Hokage like Hiruzen wanted him to. Chunin exams. During an unannounced return to Konoha, Jiraiya visits the Konoha hot springs in order to spy on the women bathing there. He's discovered by Ebisu, who, not realizing who Jiraiya is at first, tries to stop him and reprimand him. Jiraiya uses a toad to knock Ebisu out so that he won't interfere in his research. Unfortunately, Jiraiya is immediately confronted by Naruto Uzumaki, who Ebisu was training to improve his chakra control, and who now, because Ebisu is unconscious, needs somebody else to teach him. Jiraiya refuses to be that somebody until Naruto demonstrates his sexy technique, at which point Jiraiya eagerly agrees. Kinda gross. While watching Naruto struggle with his training, Jiraiya notices two things. Naruto is the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails. His access to the Nine-Tails chakra is being restricted by the 5-element seal, which Jiraiya correctly guesses was placed by Orochimaru. Jiraiya removes the seal, making it easier for Naruto to control his chakra, and offers to start teaching him to use the Nine-Tails power the next day. He informs Ebisu of this decision later that night. Ebisu doesn't mind, but asks that Jiraiya meet with the 3rd Hokage so that, together, they can stop whatever Orochimaru is planning against Konoha. Jiraiya is unwilling to get involved. In order to teach Naruto how to take advantage of the Ninetales' large chakra reserves, Jiraiya teaches Naruto the summoning technique, expecting him to use Ninetales to summon bigger and bigger toads. Naruto is not only unable to tap into the Ninetales chakra, but makes poor use of his own chakra, only managing to summon tadpoles. From talking to Naruto about his previous uses of the Ninetales, Jiraiya gathers that he needs to be in a life or death situation in order to instinctively draw on the Ninetales. When after a month, Naruto is still only summoning tadpoles, Jiraiya puts Naruto in a life or death situation. He throws him into a ravine. Jiraiya is impressed when Naruto summons Gamabunta to save him, but decides to return to his research before Gamabunta notices him. Konoha Crush. Orochimaru launches an invasion of Konoha, using snakes to break through the village's defenses and destroy its infrastructure. Jiraiya stops them with summoning food cart destroyer technique, crushing the snakes with Gamahiro. He then seeks out the third Hokage to lend assistance in his fight with Orochimaru, but by the time he arrives, the third is dead and Orochimaru has fled. Jiraiya does not attend the third's funeral a few days later, instead visiting the third training ground and crying over memories of the third. Search for Tsunade. Jiraiya is approached by the Konoha Council, who inform him that, due to the dire straits the village has been left in following the invasion of Konoha, the Land of Fire's daimyo has already approved Jiraiya's selection as 5th Hokage. Jiraiya declines, but offers to find Tsunade to have her take the position, which the counselors agree with. Jiraiya asks to be allowed to take Naruto with him. As he explains it to Naruto's teacher Kakashi, the organization called Akatsuki has been collecting tailed beasts like Naruto's Ninetales. Jiraiya plans to look over Naruto and further teach him to exploit the Ninetales' power. He doesn't share any of this with Naruto, who therefore doesn't see much reason to accompany Jiraiya on his search for Tsunade. Jiraiya offers to teach a Majutsu stronger than Sasuke's Chidori, which instantly wins Naruto's interests. After leaving Konoha, Jiraiya and Naruto stop in Shukuba town. While they check into a room to rest in, an attractive woman starts flirting with Jiraiya. Jiraiya sends Naruto to the room while he and the woman spend time together. It quickly occurs to him, however, that women are not usually drawn to him. At which point, he realizes the woman is under the influence of a genjutsu so that she could be used to lure Jiraiya away from Naruto. He returns to Naruto and finds him about to be captured by Akatsuki's Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki. Sasuke is also there, wishing to fight Itachi. Itachi and Kisame decide to flee rather than fight Jiraiya, which he tries to stop with his Toadmouth bind, but this fails. Jiraiya collects a sample of the Amaterasu flames that Itachi used to escape and returns to Naruto and Sasuke, at which point he is attacked by Might Guy. Guy apologizes for attacking Jiraiya, explaining that he didn't get a good look because he was trying to avoid Itachi's Sharingan. Jiraiya asks Guy to go back to Konoha with Sasuke, who has been rendered unconscious by Itachi's Sharingan. Guy informs him and Naruto that the same thing happened to Kakashi, and that only Tsunade may be able to cure them. To that end, he asks that they be sure to find her. Afterwards, Jiraiya explains to Naruto why Akatsuki is after him. Naruto decides that he'll need to be stronger so that he can face them next time, which Jiraiya decides to help him with by teaching him the Rasengan. As they travel around the country trying to track Tsunade's location, Jiraiya instructs Naruto in the Rasengan's usage, providing him training aids where needed. Although Naruto relies on some unconventional workarounds and his developments often interrupt Jiraiya's rest, he masters the first 2 of Rasengan's 3 learning steps. Jiraiya and Naruto eventually learn that Tsunade is in Tanzaku quarters. When they arrive at where she's supposed to be, however, she isn't there. What's more, there's evidence that Orochimaru's been there. They find a place to eat to decide what to do next, only to find Tsunade there with her attendant Shizune. Tsunade is surprised to see Jiraiya, having just met Orochimaru, though she refuses to say anything about the nature of their meeting. Jiraiya informs her that Konoha would like her to become the 5th Hokage. Tsunade is surprised, having thought Orochimaru was lying when he said he killed the 3rd Hokage, as is Naruto, who didn't realize Tsunade was being offered the Hokage position. Tsunade refuses the offer, ridiculing those who've been held the title, including the 3rd and 4th Hokage, and dismissing the job as fitting only for fools. Naruto, who has his own dreams of being Hokage, is enraged and tries to attack Tsunade. Jiraiya holds him back, but Tsunade agrees to fight with him. Tsunade easily defeats Naruto, but not before he tries to use his imperfect Rasengan. She berates Jiraiya for teaching Naruto the Rasengan at all. declaring it cruel to let someone as untalented as him believe he can master something so complicated. Naruto makes a bet with her that he can master the Rasengan in a week, and goes off to start training. Jiraiya invites Tsunade to drink afterwards, and guesses that Tsunade's bet with Naruto has something to do with the offer Orochimaru made her. He doesn't ask for details about the offer, but he promises to personally kill her if she does anything to endanger Konoha. She claims not to care about the village, so Jiraiya remarks how similar Naruto is to Tsunade's dead brother, Nawaki, who treasured Konoha. He invites her out to drinks again the night before the bet expires, planning to ask her more about what Orochimaru wants, but she's able to drug his drink without him noticing. When Jiraiya wakes up the next morning, he has difficulty moving and using his chakra. He goes looking for Tsunade, but can only find Naruto and Shizune. He notices Kabuto Yakushi watching them, so asks Shizune what Tsunade's deal with Orochimaru is. Shizune reveals that, in exchange for healing the damage to Orochimaru's arms caused by the third Hokage, Orochimaru will revive Naoki, and also Tsunade's dead lover, Dan Kato. As they try to find Tsunade in order to stop her from helping Orochimaru, Jiraiya worries that he may actually need to follow through on his promise to kill her. When they locate her, however, they find that she's already trying to kill Orochimaru. Jiraiya instructs Shizune to help deal with Kabuto while he fights Orochimaru by himself. He asks Tsunade to give him an antidote for the drug she gave him, but Kabuto has been able to trigger her fear of blood, rendering her unable to do anything. Jiraiya's inability to control his chakra and Orochimaru's inability to use his arms means they can't do much against each other. Jiraiya is able to create a swamp of the underworld, but it's too shallow to defeat Orochimaru's snake, only managing to stop it from moving. Nevertheless, Orochimaru is confident that Jiraiya will lose, proven by his wasting time with Naruto. He contrasts Naruto with Sasuke. Sasuke is an Uchiha, naturally gifted and capable of learning every ninjutsu. Naruto is mediocre, struggling to learn even one ninjutsu and thus failing to live up to the title of shinobi. Jiraiya rebuts, a shinobi is not someone who can learn all ninjutsu, but rather someone who refuses to give up. They watch as Naruto uses a completed Rasengan to defeat Kabuto, which Orochimaru decides is a problem. He goes to kill Naruto, parrying Jiraiya's attempt to stop him. Tsunade is able to protect Naruto and overcomes her phobia so that she can return to the fight. She summons Katsuyu to fight Orochimaru's Manda, with Jiraiya joining in by summoning Gamabunta. After they save Katsuyu from Manda, Jiraiya and Gamabunta attack Manda with Fire Release, Toad Oil Flame Bullet. Manda avoids it and attacks them from behind, but they are saved by Tsunade, who defeats both him and Orochimaru. Orochimaru escapes with Kabuto. Before he leaves, he warns that he has other ways of fixing his arms. Tsunade heals Jiraiya's broken bones, restores his chakra, and, having accepted the Hokage position, returns with him and Naruto to Konoha. Sasuke Recovery Mission. When they get back to Konoha, Jiraiya has Tsunade heal the mental damage done to Sasuke and Kakashi, as well as ask her to look for Rock Lee on behalf of Guy. Naruto goes around the village to visit his friends, with Jiraiya secretly watching him. Naruto gets into a fight with Sasuke shortly after Tsunade heals him, which Kakashi interrupts in time to stop them from using their Chidori and Rasengan against each other. Kakashi notices Jiraiya and asks him if it was a good idea to teach Naruto the Rasengan. Jiraiya asks the same about teaching Sasuke the Chidori. Jiraiya admits to being surprised that Naruto would use the Rasengan against a friend and asks about his relationship with Sasuke. Kakashi explains that Sasuke is a rival that Naruto wants to live up to, just as Jiraiya once did with Orochimaru. Now understanding things, Jiraiya decides to speak with Naruto about it. Sasuke ends up defecting to Orochimaru, and Naruto ends up in Konoha Hospital in his failed attempt to stop him. Jiraiya visits him there and informs Naruto that he's going to take him away from Konoha for 3 years of training. Both Akatsuki and Orochimaru will be unable to move forward with their plans for 3 years, meaning this is the perfect opportunity to prepare Naruto for the next time he faces them. Naruto declines, believing it's essential that he go after Sasuke immediately. Jiraiya tries to convince him to give up on Sasuke, drawing on his own experience with Orochimaru, and pointing to Naruto's contemporary condition as proof that Sasuke no longer considers him a friend. These facts, coupled with the many more important challenges Naruto must face someday, causes Jiraiya to conclude that going after Sasuke would be foolish. Naruto replies simply that he'd rather be a fool. Jiraiya is satisfied by this, and tells Naruto to be ready to go once he's discharged from the hospital. Land of Rice Fields Investigation Mission. In the anime, Jiraiya takes Naruto and Sakura to the land of rice fields to see if they can learn anything about where Orochimaru has Sasuke. They aren't able to locate him, but they're able to free the Fuma clan from Orochimaru's control. When they return to Konoha, Jiraiya asks Tsunade to keep Naruto busy until he returns from some investigations he needs to do, fearing Naruto may go after Sasuke by himself if he isn't kept preoccupied. Tsunagakure Support Mission. As happens at the end of the Sasuke recovery mission in the manga, Jiraiya picks up Naruto at Ramen Ichiraku to take him away for 3 years of training. Gutsy Master and Student, The Training. In the anime, shortly after leaving Konoha, they discuss the fact that Naruto will need to learn how to counter Genjutsu if he hopes to be a match against Sasuke the next time they meet. Jiraiya summons Gamariki to help him practice dispelling Genjutsu. But Naruto struggles with it and his chakra keeps hitting Gamaraki, who doesn't appreciate it. Jiraiya takes Naruto to the Genjutsu Tree Village to try a different approach, but they discover the village has been taken over by Kandachi. They free the villagers and then attack Kandachi, who Naruto defeats with his newly created Big Ball Rasengan. As they leave afterwards, Jiraiya is pleased by how similar Naruto is to Minato Namikaze, and hugs him, which Naruto is bothered by. In Naruto's footsteps, the Friend's Path. 2 years into their training, Naruto's control of the Nine-Tails chakra has improved significantly. Jiraiya tries to give him more access to the Nine-Tails power and uses Gerotora to weaken Naruto's 8 trigram sealing style. This causes Naruto to enter a version 2 form with 4 tails. Not in control of his body, Naruto attacks Jiraiya and nearly kills him before he manages to suppress the Nine-Tails. Naruto has no memory of what happened and Jiraiya doesn't tell him, instead shifting Naruto's training to other pursuits, including keeping his anger in check so that Nine-Tails won't flare up again. Kazekage Rescue Mission. Jiraiya returns Naruto to Konoha after 2.5 years. Kakashi greets them when they arrive, and Naruto gives him a copy of Icha Icha Tactics, which Jiraiya wrote during their time together. He entrusts Naruto to take Kakashi's care, warning that Akatsuki will likely be making a move soon. He sends the same warning to Tsunagakure, whose Kazekage is a Jinchuriki like Naruto. Jiraiya leaves Konoha to start investigating Akatsuki, but returns shortly afterwards to inform Tsunade that the Kazekage has been captured. She already knows this and is about to send Naruto and his team to Suna to lend assistance. He warns Naruto to keep his temper and to not use that technique. He also tells Kakashi to keep an eye on Naruto, giving him a seal that can be used to suppress the Nine-Tails if Naruto starts losing control. Tenchi Bridge Reconnaissance Mission. When the Kazekage is successfully rescued, Jiraiya and Tsunade meet with Kakashi to discuss Naruto's display of the Nine-Tails power during the mission, a sign of his worsening control. Jiraiya explains his own experience with Naruto's version 2 form and his observations about how Naruto's transformations work. Because Naruto can be as much of a risk to himself as he is to others in these states, they task Yamato with keeping him in check. Three Tails' appearance. In the anime, Jiraiya returns to Konoha to congratulate Naruto on defeating Akatsuki's Kakuzu. Because Kakashi is about to take Team 8 on a mission to investigate one of Orochimaru's bases, Jiraiya distracts Naruto from this potential opportunity to find Sasuke by taking him to Yagakure for training. Because Naruto doesn't have any long-range jutsu in his repertoire, Jiraiya recommends that he uses Cooperation Jutsu, synchronizing with his Toad summons to make up for this deficiency. He has Naruto try to perform the water-release water gun with Gamariki, but their personalities clash, preventing them from cooperating. Naruto instead summons Gamatatsu, with whom he's able to synchronize with Gamakichi's guidance. Jiraiya applauds Naruto's progress, but is called away to look into news on Akatsuki before he can see Naruto's training completed. He leaves Naruto to finish the training himself, though before he goes, he convinces Tsunade to let Naruto help on Team 8's mission. Itachi Pursuit Mission. Jiraiya visits Tsunade and reports rumors that Orochimaru has been killed by Sasuke. They share these rumors with Naruto and Sakura, who suspect that Sasuke is making moves against his brother Itachi Uchiha of Akatsuki. Naruto proposes that they try to locate Itachi so that they can, in turn, find Sasuke. An 8-man squad is organized for this purpose, which in the anime Jiraiya and Tsunade see off as they leave Konoha. Tale of Jiraiya the Gallant. While the 8-man squad is still on their mission, Jiraiya visits Tsunade with news that he's discovered the location of Akatsuki's leader, though he refuses to go into more detail until she meets with him for drinks. While having sake, Jiraiya shares news of Amagakure's ongoing civil war, which the Akatsuki leader is rumored to be behind. Because Amagakure is in a delicate political situation, Jiraiya must infiltrate the village by himself to confirm before Konoha can take direct action. Tsunade feels guilty for always relying on him to do dangerous work like this, and offers to help him if he needs it. He reminds her that she, the Hokage, can't just leave the village, but she replies that Naruto will inevitably replace her anyway. While they discuss Naruto, Jiraiya reflects that, because he thought of Minato as a son, being with Naruto feels like being with his grandson. Jiraiya departs, but warns Tsunade about Danzo Shimura before he goes. Jiraiya is able to successfully infiltrate Amagakure, and quickly captures two Aminin, Ryusui and Yudachi. He tries using tickle torture to get them to reveal information about Pain, but it's only after using the turning into frog technique on Yudachi that Ryusui is forthcoming. Pain is the mysterious leader and god figure of Ame, who brought the rebelling faction to victory in the Civil War by personally killing Ame's former leader, Hanzo. Jiraiya is unsettled by news that Pain killed Hanzo, having assumed from his own past encounter with Hanzo that he was unbeatable. He takes a precaution by removing Gerutora from his body and instructing him to go to Naruto if anything happens to him. Gerutora warns him against this, feeling Naruto is unprepared for full access to the Nine-Tails' power. Jiraiya shares his suspicions that Madara Uchiha is somehow moving behind the scenes, which, if true, would mean Naruto will need to master the Nine-Tails sooner rather than later. Jiraiya has one of his toads take Yudachi to Konoha to be interrogated by Ibiki Morino, while he controls Ryusui in order to further explore Ame. He is quickly discovered and confronted by Pain's angel, who Jiraiya recognizes as Konan, one of the orphans he trained decades ago. Jiraiya is surprised to see her and guesses that Pain must be one of the orphans, though she refuses to confirm and instead attacks him. He quickly captures her, but Pain rescues her and sends her away. Although Jiraiya doesn't recognize the body, Jiraiya assumes that Pain is Nagato because of his Rinnegan. Jiraiya expresses his disappointment that Nagato has turned away from his once righteous path towards peace by leading a criminal organization like Akatsuki. Pain asserts that, as a god, his plan to liberate the world through destruction is the definition of righteousness. Deciding that he must stop Pain before the world is destroyed, Jiraiya summons Kamaken to fight Pain while he prepares to enter Sage Mode. Pain counters with his various summons and nothing else, which Jiraiya finds odd considering the huge arsenal of ninjutsu Nagato learned during their time together. Despite the constant attacks by Pain's summons, Jiraiya is able to enter Sage Mode with help from Fukusaku and Shima. Both are surprised that Jiraiya would call on him, so he informs them that Pain is the apparent child of the prophecy. They immediately understand, seeking out and destroying the chameleon Pain is hiding in. Pain responds by summoning two more bodies, each with their own Rinnegan and neither of which Jiraiya recognizes. Though confused by this, Jiraiya, Fukusaku, and Shima team up with Sage Art Goemon. One of the Pains, the Preta Path, absorbs their Sage Art Goemon as well as Jiraiya's follow-up Ultra Big Ball Rasengan. But Jiraiya succeeds in blinding another Pain, the Human Path. He tries to attack this blinded Pain from behind, but it mysteriously blocks him. Fukusaku notices that one of the other Pains saw him attacking the blind one and guesses that they share vision. Outmatched, they decide to retreat so that they can discuss tactics. They decide that their only hope is to split up the Pains and fight them one at a time, something they likely won't be able to accomplish without Genjutsu. Since Jiraiya isn't good with Genjutsu, Fukusaku and Shima ready their Toad confrontation singing, which draws the Pains to their location. Jiraiya holds them off while the Genjutsu is prepared. He obscures the Preta Path's sight. He binds the Human Path to the wall. He attacks the first Pain, the Animal Path, uninhibited until the Genjutsu is finally cast. While the Pains are caught, Jiraiya stabs them with stone swords and believes they, and by extension Nagato, are dead. As he leaves, Pain's Asura Path attacks him from behind, severing his arm. The full 6 paths of Pain, with the 3 he defeated restored by the Naraka Path, face Jiraiya. He recognizes the Deva Path as Yahiko, causing him to question his assumption that Pain is Nagato. When asked, Pain assures him that Yahiko is dead, then attacks to kill Jiraiya as well. After a prolonged battle, Jiraiya retreats into his barrier Toad Gourd prison. The Animal Path follows him, but he's able to capture it. From looking at the Animal Path up close, Jiraiya realizes that he met it once before years ago. Jiraiya, remembering the great Toad Sage's prediction that Jiraiya would travel the world, starts to suspect why he knows the Animal Path. Fukusaku and Shima recommend he return to Konoha to report what he's discovered, but he refuses, believing this is the best chance to figure out who Pain is. He has Shima deliver the Animal Path to Konoha while he and Fukusaku confront Pain again. The other 5 pains quickly surround Jiraiya when he returns to the battlefield, but he's able to confirm his theory. Each of the pains is somebody he met during his travels. Before he can communicate this to Fukusaku, his throat is crushed and he's stabbed by the pain's black receivers. As his life starts to fade, Jiraiya reflects on his failures. His failure to win the heart of Tsunade, his failure to redeem Orochimaru, his failure to protect Minato or the third Hokage, and now his failure to have a meaningful death. His thoughts turn to Naruto, who Jiraiya knows wouldn't submit to failure like this, and would keep fighting for as long as he could. Jiraiya decides that he, as Naruto's teacher, should demonstrate the same resolve. As such, he forces himself back to consciousness and uses the last of his energy to etch a coded message into Fukusaku's back. Despite Pain's attempts to stop him, Fukusaku is able to escape to Konoha. Jiraiya, meanwhile, is thrown into the sea by Pain's attack and starts sinking into its depths. Jiraiya spends his final moments continuing to think about Naruto, and decides that it is he, not Nagato, who is the child of prophecy. Jiraiya is confident the world is in good hands if Naruto is to be its salvation. Satisfied with how this final chapter of his life turned out, Jiraiya officially ends what he titles The Tale of Jiraiya the Gallant. Before he dies, Jiraiya decides that the sequel should be called The Tale of Naruto Uzumaki, and smiles at how good the title is. Time Slip Arc. In the anime, when a grown-up Sasuke and Naruto's future son Boruto were sent back in time to shortly after Sasuke's defection, the two bumped into Jiraiya and Naruto. Jiraiya handed Boruto his binoculars, framing him for his discovered peeping, but Tsunade arrived and resolved the situation. Tsunade asked about Boruto and Sasuke's arrival, and Sasuke claimed they were traveling performers who utilized ninjutsu during their performances. Still somewhat suspicious, Tsunade ordered Naruto and Jiraiya to guard Boruto and Sasuke, proclaiming that a recently defected genin, as well as Konoha still recovering from an assault during the Chunin exams, they needed to remain on guard at all times, and couldn't afford to let strangers walk into their village. However, as soon as Tsunade left, Jiraiya left Naruto to take care of Boruto and Sasuke, much to Naruto's annoyance. Later, while checking out Naruto, he was shocked to see Naruto captured by a new stranger with odd powers, and even more surprised to see Boruto performing a Rasengan on the foe. When the foe retreated with Naruto, he sealed off Jiraiya with Sasuke and Boruto inside a stone prison. Sasuke explained that he and Boruto were really ninja from a distant village on a mission to stop Urashiki from stealing the Nine-Tails chakra. Sasuke also explained that Urashiki had ties to Akatsuki. While realizing the two strangers were still hiding something, he decided to trust them and work together to save Naruto, freeing them by summoning giant toads. Soon, Sasuke locked onto Naruto's location from detecting the tailed beast chakra beginning to leak out. Along the way, having realized that the 8 trigram sealing style was stopping Urashiki from stealing the Nine-Tails chakra, Jiraiya placed powerful seals on Boruto and Sasuke to protect them as well. Upon finding Naruto, Urashiki's actions forced the boy into his version 1 state. While Sasuke engaged Urashiki, Jiraiya went to deal with the rampaging Naruto. He was surprised to see Boruto's kindness initially reaching Naruto, realizing that their chakra was compatible with each other. After subduing the demon chakra and Naruto and Urashiki retreated, Jiraiya suggested training Naruto and Boruto together, knowing the foe would return. The following day, Jiraiya began to explain to the new boys the nature of their training, to synchronize their chakra and create a new cooperation ninjutsu. Pointing out the difficult nature behind such a task, he insisted that their similar chakra would make it possible. As Naruto and Boruto continued to work on the technique, relying on their respective Rasengan training, Jiraiya decided to confirm a suspicion. He later met with adult Sasuke and asked him to deliver food to Naruto while he took care of a task. In reality, he spied on Sasuke to see how he would interact with Naruto. Jiraiya saw the feelings Sasuke had when he was renewing Naruto's conviction, so after Naruto left, he met with Sasuke again, and before Sasuke could leave, Jiraiya asked the traveler if he was Sasuke Uchiha, leaving the time traveler shocked. As Jiraiya dryly laughed off his accusation, he remained firm on his suspicion that he was connected to the rogue genin. Since Jiraiya could tell that Sasuke and Boruto's desire to protect Naruto was genuine, and that they had their reasons for keeping secrets, he made a deal with Sasuke not to delve deeper into their true identities, provided that Sasuke reveals all he knows about Urashiki. Sasuke then explained all he knew about his abilities. After hearing all this, Jiraiya deemed that the best course of action would be to seal away Urashiki. Before they could formulate a proper plan, however, Sasuke detected Urashiki's return near Naruto and Boruto's location, speeding off with Jiraiya to help Boruto and Naruto. With Sasuke still drained from Urashiki's theft of his chakra, their efforts were easily repelled by Urashiki, resulting in Jiraiya being impaled on the shoulder. Urashiki then smugly told them that he can perceive the future. Deciding the foe's newest technique was too dangerous, Sasuke tackled himself and Urashiki over the ledge and into a river to let his allies escape. While tending to Jiraiya's wounds, the group tried to figure out how to deal with Urashiki. Boruto then realized that in the fight, the blood splattered on Urashiki was drying much faster than Boruto's. After engaging the foe again to test the theory, they concluded that Urashiki's technique lets him warp into the past by several seconds, giving him a pseudo-clairvoyance from his experiences. Urashiki then attacked the Konoha Nin again, where Jiraiya then contained everyone in his summoning Toadmouth bind, during which Naruto unleashed a continued barrage of clones on Urashiki. While he easily countered the assault with his technique, Urashiki inadvertently poisoned himself from the acidic vapors of the Great Toad's belly far sooner than the Konoha Nin due to his repeated time warp. Once Jiraiya released the summoning, Naruto and Boruto then proceeded to knock out Urashiki with a Rasengan assault. Still defiant, Urashiki managed to get up. Battered and too weak to continue fighting as he was, he decided to consume all his accumulated chakra. Concluding that it wasn't enough, he smugly ripped out both his eyes and ate them as well. The final result transformed him into a fiendish being of immense physical might. Jiraiya and the two genin were quickly overwhelmed by Urashiki's continued assaults, even with the aid of the returning Sasuke. Urashiki's efforts ultimately enraged Naruto enough to unleash the Nine-Tailed chakra. Jiraiya watched in shock as Boruto decided to make use of Naruto's Nine-Tails Rasengan. As Boruto managed to reach Naruto's consciousness, they were able to perfect their new collaboration technique. With the combined efforts of Jiraiya and Sasuke, the two kids were able to plow through Urashiki's final attack and obliterate them. Afterwards, Jiraiya dryly noted how troublesome their apprentices were, which Sasuke agreed. Days later, after everyone recovered from the battle, it was decided by Sasuke and Boruto that they should leave soon, as their mission was done. They were then approached by Sakura, who demanded for Sasuke to reveal how he knew her and what the contents of his letter were about. While Sasuke struggled to answer, Jiraiya gave a convincing alibi that Sasuke and Boruto were in fact such avid fans of his. They studied up on his entire life and wished to train under him, which Boruto and Sasuke awkwardly agreed to. The following day, as Boruto and Sasuke prepared to leave, the Sannin confronted Sasuke about his true identity, feeling it would be best if he and Naruto had no memories of the recent events. Sasuke agreed and proceeded to do so with his Sharingan, which caused Jiraiya to smile as it confirmed his suspicions about Sasuke's identity before his and Naruto's memories were erased.
Orochimaru. Orochimaru is one of Konohagakure's legendary Sannin. With a life ambition to learn all of the world's secrets, Orochimaru seeks immortality so that he might live all of the lives necessary to accomplish his task. After being caught red-handed performing unethical experiments on his fellow citizens for the sake of this immortality, Orochimaru defected from Konoha rather than be persecuted for his ambitions, and for many years sought the village's destruction in order to take revenge and demonstrate what he had learned. After several apparent deaths in the pursuit of his goals, Orochimaru realizes his approach is flawed through Kabuto Yakushi, his former associate, and begins monitoring the choices and actions of his former apprentice Sasuke Uchiha. Background: Orochimaru was once an orphan who became a pupil of Hiruzen Sarutobi alongside Jiraiya and Tsunade. Compared to the more laid-back Jiraiya, Orochimaru stood out as a genius. His talents, knowledge, and determination were considered by Hiruzen to be that of a prodigy seen only once in a generation. According to Tsunade, Orochimaru had a twisted personality even as a child. His sadistic attitude was presumably due to the death of his parents. At some point after losing them, Orochimaru found a white snake near his parents' grave, with Hiruzen's explanation of it representing fortune and rebirth, inspiring Orochimaru to study Kinjutsu and obtain knowledge of all techniques. Jiraiya theorized that Orochimaru went down this path in an attempt to forget his painful memories. During the Second Shinobi World War, Orochimaru joined Jiraiya and Tsunade in fighting Hanzo, who gave them the title of Konoha's 3 legendary shinobi as a reward for surviving their battle with him, while the rest of their group were easily slaughtered in the process. On their way back to Konoha, they encountered 3 Amagakure orphans, with Orochimaru proposing a mercy killing before Jiraiya chose to train them instead. In the anime, Orochimaru orchestrated the last known rampage of the Eight Tails in Kumogakure by infiltrating the village while disguised as a Kumo-nin and posing as Blue Bee's doctor in order to trick him into taking special genjutsu-inducing pills, allowing him to extract the eight-tailed beast. After its rampage, Orochimaru obtained the severed horn of the Eight Tails and harvested Blue Bee's DNA from it. Sometime after Team Hiruzen was disbanded, Orochimaru became an Anbu member and joined Root to work directly under Danzo Shimura, while also becoming a mentor to Anko Mitarashi. It was during that time that Orochimaru met Kabuto Yakushi while accompanying Danzo in forcing the boy's guardian, Nono, into a mission. While Orochimaru's ambitions did include becoming the 4th Hokage, he intended to use the title for his own agenda. Though Hiruzen knew the potential evil in his former pupil, he hoped to stir Orochimaru from the path before slowly realizing that he was beyond anyone's help. When Hiruzen finally named Minato Namikaze as his successor, Orochimaru saw no more reason to remain in Konoha and began to be less discreet with his actions. This led to his experimentation on Hashirama Senju's DNA with 60 children he kidnapped to recreate the first's wood release, having help from Danzo. Believing it to be a failure, Orochimaru was unaware that one child had survived his wood release experiment. He later refined the process enough to inject Hashirama's cells into the Sharingan-infused right arm of Shin Uchiha, which he transplanted to Danzo. Orochimaru performed various experiments on his prisoners, some being fellow Konoha shinobi he kidnapped. He used them as human guinea pigs to develop techniques that would grant him immortality, the end result being living corpse reincarnation. Sometime later, Orochimaru was at the outskirts of Kirigakure as he found Kimimaro, the sole survivor of the Kaguya clan. Soon after, thanks in part to Kimimaro, Orochimaru's research on the source of Jugo's powers led him to find the Ryuichi cave and master Senjutsu. Unable to enter Sage mode because of the fragility of his host body, Orochimaru instead developed an alternate method of harnessing his Senjutsu chakra through cursed seals, which he tested on Anko and several others before eventually using the finalized versions on Kimimaro and the Sound 4. In the anime, Orochimaru found the Iburi clan living underground near Konoha. Taking an interest in their ability to become smoke, Orochimaru took advantage of the clan's fear of their imperfect and potentially fatal transformation by partially stabilizing it with his cursed seals. Telling them that he needed more research to perfect the process, the clan willingly gave Orochimaru test subjects. In the anime, Orochimaru witnessed Itachi Uchiha performing a training run normally meant for older and more experienced users due to the danger of it. After the young Uchiha flawlessly completed it, Orochimaru instantly became amazed and excited at Itachi's advanced growth rate. In the anime, he also allied himself with Amachi out of interest for creating a shinobi capable of underwater combat, kidnapping Land of Sea villagers for their experiments while introducing Anko to the project. Sometime later, Orochimaru lost interest in the project and ordered Amachi to cancel it, while also seeing Anko as a lost cause for her refusal to use the cursed seal and wiped her memories as she left him. Orochimaru was later sent on a mission by Danzo to Iwagakure to ensure that both Kabuto and Nono, the former having joined Root as a spy, killed each other as they had become major liabilities. Orochimaru instead brought Kabuto to his hideout, which would become part of his personal hidden village, Otogakure, and revealed Root's intent for Kabuto's life and the role he was to play in it. Though Orochimaru revealed that he was also sent to kill the one who survived this ordeal, he told Kabuto that he saw a bit of himself in the boy and decided killing him would be a waste of great talent. Therefore, Orochimaru offered Kabuto a position as his right-hand man and spy with the promise of an identity. As his test subjects began to die off, Orochimaru was caught red-handed by Hiruzen. Though he knew it was his duty, Hiruzen lacked the will to kill his student, allowing him to escape. In the anime, during his escape, Orochimaru was found by Kakashi Hatake. Despite the young prodigy's best efforts, Orochimaru swiftly defeated him. Letting his guard down at the approach of a snake, Orochimaru was greatly injured by an explosive tag concealed in the snake's mouth. Cursing Hiruzen for ruining his plans, though greatly injured, Orochimaru quickly regained his composure. He then resumed his retreat from the country, leaving a terrified Kakashi frozen in place from his malicious glare alone. Seriously wounded, Orochimaru visited the cave where the Iburi clan lived and killed them all, trying to restore his power. Upon the arrival of the youngest member, Yukimi, Orochimaru pursued her while being chased by Kakashi Hatake and Kinoe. Eventually, he managed to take a sample of Yukimi's blood, intending to inject it into himself to temporarily gain her ability and slip across the border, but he was attacked before he could do so and quickly escaped. Orochimaru managed to destroy most of his research facilities and booby-trap the rest. Orochimaru ultimately escaped Konoha, leaving his emotionally broken mentor with Jiraiya's pleas for him to reconsider falling on deaf ears. Orochimaru soon became affiliated with and joined the elite criminal organization Akatsuki. Orochimaru was then partnered with Sasori, with whom he did much good for the organization. He later watched in amazement when Itachi Uchiha joined the organization. Later, when Orochimaru saw his opportunity to steal his body to gain possession of the Sharingan, Itachi used his Sharingan to stop him from doing so, while also cutting Orochimaru's left hand off to prevent him from breaking the genjutsu he was under, which led him to leaving Akatsuki to acquire a new body. For Orochimaru's defection, Sasori developed a grudge against him and used Kabuto, whom Orochimaru had sent to serve as his spy within Akatsuki, to counter-spy as his sleeper agent. However, Orochimaru discovered and undid the technique Sasori had used on him. In the anime, when tipped off by Kabuto that Sasori was on his tail, Orochimaru chose to use this as an opportunity to test his development of the second Hokage's summoning, Impure World Reincarnation. Against Sasori's third Kazekage puppet, Orochimaru summoned the actual third Kazekage through his technique. While proving his reincarnated ninja being stronger than the human puppet, the technique ultimately proved incomplete as the third Kazekage was able to regain control and break the summoning contract. Orochimaru had also been on a lifelong search for the Totsuka sword, an ethereal sword, but was unaware that it was in the possession of Itachi's Susanoo. In the anime, Orochimaru witnessed Mizuki killing a comrade during a mission. Under the pretense as a gift for Mizuki's bold actions, Orochimaru granted him a specialized cursed seal. In truth, however, it was an incomplete experimental tool that would destroy whoever used it, to which Orochimaru was merely curious as to how the effects would happen on Mizuki. Chunin exams. For a while, since leaving Konoha, Orochimaru left his hometown alone until the chance to destroy it presented itself. The opportunity presented itself when he forms a partnership with the 4th Kazekage of Tsunagakure, who desired Konoha's destruction like him, planning their invasion during the Chunin exams. Orochimaru also used the invasion as an opportunity to test Sasuke Uchiha, Itachi's younger brother, if he can be of use as a vessel. Prior to the commencement of the second part of the Chunin exams, Orochimaru murdered a team of Kusagakure Genin to impersonate its leader Shiore and infiltrate the Forest of Death. Using a snake summon to separate Naruto from Team 7, the disguised Orochimaru subjected Sasuke to his killing intent, with the youth unable to fight due to the fear instilled in him. However, the fear subsided with Naruto's timely appearance and convincing Sasuke to muster his courage before Orochimaru interferes with the Jinchuriki's seal while knocking him out for the duration of the fight. After being subjected to Sasuke's Dragon Fire technique, as it partially burned off his disguise, Orochimaru expresses pride in Sasuke's abilities before branding his target with his cursed seal of heaven and taking his leave. As he sends Team Dosu as sacrificial lambs to test Sasuke, having Kabuto accompany Team 7 to witness Sasuke use the cursed seal's power, Orochimaru is confronted by Anko as he tells her that Konoha will continue the exams under threat of his retaliation if they cancel it. During the preliminary rounds of the Chunin exams, Orochimaru disguised himself as the leader of his Genin team to watch Sasuke's performance against Yoroi Akado, and more obsessive upon seeing him suppress the cursed seal with sheer will. After Kakashi was able to seal away the mark on Sasuke, Orochimaru confronted him. He made no attempt to hide his envy of Kakashi's Sharingan, and noted before leaving that Sasuke will eventually come to him seeking power. Konoha Crush. Eventually, on the day of the final round matches, with all attack preparations complete, Orochimaru murdered the 4th Kazekage and assumed his identity to sit next to Hiruzen and oversee the proceedings. However, the Konoha Crush began. Orochimaru makes his move to kill his former master. Having the Sound 4 discard the guises of the Kazekage's bodyguards, Orochimaru has them erect a barrier to hold the other Konoha ninja back to prevent any interference. Having regretted letting Orochimaru escape years earlier, Hiruzen agrees to battle his former pupil. Exhilarated that he could finally fight his former teacher, Orochimaru uses the Impure World Reincarnation to summon Hashirama Senju and his brother Tobirama to have the first 2 Hokage attack their successor. During the fight, Orochimaru reveals to Hiruzen that the fruits of his labor from mastering living corpse reincarnation with the host body he took after his brush-in with Itachi and his intentions to make Sasuke into his next host. Horrified at how far Orochimaru has truly went, with both his age and the regenerative abilities of the first 2 Hokage placing him at a great disadvantage, Hiruzen resolves to stop Orochimaru with the dead demon consuming seal, sealing away the souls of the 2 Hokage prior to going after Orochimaru himself. Not wishing to join the 3 Hokage's souls and being trapped within the Reaper's stomach, Orochimaru stabbed Hiruzen through the back of his chest with his sword of Kusanagi before the weakened Hiruzen resolves to only seal part of Orochimaru's soul within his arms. Cursing the dying Hiruzen for robbing him of his use of ninjutsu, Orochimaru is carried off by the Sound 4 with the invasion halted. Afterwards, Tsunagakure broke ties with Orochimaru upon discovering the corpse of the 4th Kazekage. Search for Tsunade. After barely being able to stand the pain from his rotting arms, Orochimaru plans to have his condition healed by appealing Tsunade with the offer to reincarnate her Naoki and Dan to win her cooperation. However, though she seemed to agree, Tsunade had actually intended to kill him to ensure he never attacks Konoha again. Kabuto intervened before she could do so, intending to force her to help before Jiraiya, Shizune, and Naruto soon arrived to her aid. While Orochimaru and Jiraiya, having earlier been drugged by Tsunade and thus unable to properly perform techniques, faced off, Kabuto battled Naruto before being defeated. Seeing this, and seeing a potential threat, Orochimaru resolves to kill Naruto before Tsunade teams up with Jiraiya to face their former teammate. Despite summoning Manda, managing to hide his condition from the giant serpent as he fights Gamabunta, Orochimaru is forced to give up healing his arms and must take a new host body. Sasuke Recovery Mission. Even though he had hoped to wait for Sasuke to grow older, Orochimaru sent his Sound 4 to retrieve and bring Sasuke to him. He held out for as long as he could, anticipating Sasuke's arrival, but the pain in his arms became too unbearable, so he's given no choice but to take the body of Genyumaru, whom Kabuto had prepared earlier. After agreeing to release Genyumaru's clansmen in return for his sacrifice, Orochimaru proceeds to use living corpse reincarnation on his new host. Though the act undid most of the damage caused by the dead demon-consuming seal, it still left Orochimaru incapable of using techniques requiring hand seals. While still waiting for Sasuke, bandaged up within his new house with Kabuto by his side, Orochimaru comments that either Jirobo or Kidomaru would be slowing down the group, but expressed doubts about Sakon's strength, which Kabuto brings up, stating Tayuya was just as strong, and Kimimaro, lamenting that the latter's illness made it impossible to have him as a perfect vessel as originally intended. But with Kimimaro's death, Orochimaru stated that he no longer cared about his previous protege, and instead commented on his desire for Sasuke. As he is stuck in Genyumaru's body for the next 3 years, Orochimaru decided to start training Sasuke once he finally arrived, hoping to shape him into the ideal host while being highly impressed and excited by the chakra that Sasuke revealed in response to Kabuto's threat for not giving Orochimaru his respect. Tenchi Bridge Reconnaissance Mission. 2.5 years later, a Yamato-led Team Kakashi, hoping to find Sasuke, learned of an opportunity from a dying Sasori that he was meeting with his spy, Kabuto. Posing as Sasori within his Hiroko puppet, the group's temporary leader Yamato met with Kabuto while others watched. However, Orochimaru arrived as Kabuto destroyed the Hiroko, with Orochimaru clarifying to a confused Kabuto that Sasori never came, as the rest of Team Kakashi revealed themselves to fight the two ninja. Although he was surprised to see Yamato has survived his experiments involving Hashirama's DNA, Orochimaru was more interested to see if Naruto had become as strong as his Sasuke. When Naruto assumed his three-tailed form in response, Orochimaru eluded Naruto, enjoying battle while provoking Naruto further. It was only after Naruto submitted to Kurama's influence and entered his mindless four-tailed form that Orochimaru took the fight seriously, due to how Naruto now being able to kill him and his host body beginning to reject him after he used his Kusanagi to force Naruto away. While he briefly recuperated, Orochimaru was approached by Sai, who made an offer on behalf of Danzo to work together in destroying Konoha. Intrigued, Orochimaru and Kabuto took him back to their base. Later, after the rest of Team Kakashi arrived at the lair and Sai teamed up with them, Orochimaru confronted Sai and Naruto to question Sai about his loyalties. He fled before they could be drawn into another fight, and later kept Sasuke from killing the team, noting that they might kill another Akatsuki member like they had done with Sasori. Three Tails appearance. In the anime, sensing that the time was close approaching to change vessels, Orochimaru sent Kabuto to find Guren, so that she could help with preparations for the process. During this time, Orochimaru was also experimenting on Yukimaru, a child with unusual powers. Orochimaru eventually decided that it was time to test Sasuke's abilities and watched in awe as he defeated an army of ninja without killing any and without receiving a scratch. As Sasuke walked off, Orochimaru admitted that while he used to be recognized as a genius, Sasuke's powers far surpassed his own when he was Sasuke's age. Noticing that Guren was watching, he offered her another chance to prove herself worthy as Orochimaru's next vessel, which she was delighted with. Orochimaru teamed her up with Yukimaru, noting that their two abilities should work well together. Later, it was revealed that Orochimaru also chose Guren because he knew she would eventually grow attached to Yukimaru, which he appeared to have used for. He ordered Kabuto to be ready to eliminate her should she betray him. Later, after receiving word that the Konoha shinobi were complicating things, Orochimaru decided he might have to intervene personally. After Yukimaru's loss of his abilities and Guren's supposed death, Kabuto reported back to his master about the failed operation. Orochimaru dismissed it as nothing more than a minor setback, saying once he had Sasuke's body, it wouldn't make any difference. Itachi Pursuit Mission. On the verge of being rejected by his current body, Orochimaru contemplated about the best way to take Sasuke's body. In the anime, he and Kabuto recapped all the events that led to Sasuke defecting and how much he had improved since. Before he could formulate his plan, however, Sasuke attacked him, having decided that Orochimaru was unworthy of having an Uchiha's body, and tried to kill him with Chidori's sharp spear, but only succeeds in piercing his arm. Orochimaru proceeded to reveal his true body, a large white snake made of a multitude of smaller snakes, in order to initiate the body switch process. Sasuke, however, cuts up Orochimaru's large snake body, only to realize that the vaporizing blood was turning into a paralysis-type poison. Orochimaru then successfully starts the body switch process. Sasuke stops the process like Itachi had done years earlier, but took it a step further by turning the switch against Orochimaru, absorbing him into his own body. Sasuke gained access to some of Orochimaru's abilities, but at the same time had to dedicate some of his chakra to suppressing Orochimaru. Kabuto later took Orochimaru's remains and transfused his blood into himself, giving him access to Orochimaru's abilities. Fated battle between brothers. During the battle with Itachi, Sasuke ran low on chakra, and Orochimaru was able to emerge from his cursed seal using his signature 8 branches technique. He marveled at the fact that he would finally have the chance to take Sasuke's body, but was immediately pierced through by the blade held by Itachi's Susanoo. At first, Orochimaru boasted that it would take a lot more than that to kill him, but he soon realized that he had been pierced by the Tatsuka sword that he himself had been searching for. Orochimaru was then sealed away by Itachi's Susanoo, which had the effect of removing Sasuke's cursed seal in the process. 3 white snakes escaped from Orochimaru's body as he was sealed, but at least one of these snakes was subsequently killed by the black flames of Amaterasu. 4th Shinobi World War Climax. Following Kabuto's defeat and his reunion with Suigetsu Hozuki and Jugo, Sasuke learns of the scroll they found at one of Orochimaru's hideouts and resolves to revive him for answers following what he learned from Itachi. Sasuke succeeds in reviving Orochimaru by pulling his consciousness out of Anko's cursed seal and transferring it into the physical form Jugo provided by absorbing some of Kabuto's modified flesh. Despite Suigetsu's fears of his next action as he reclaims the rest of his chakra that Kabuto took from him, Orochimaru explains that he is neither interested in Tobi's war nor strong enough to even attempt to take Sasuke's body if he wanted to. However, Orochimaru, noting the change in his former student, does agree to take Sasuke to the one who has the answers he wants. Arriving in Konohagakure, Orochimaru and the others sense Naruto's chakra from a great distance away. Noting that Sasuke was annoyed by this, Orochimaru pressed on with the group at the young man's behest. He led them to the Uzumaki clan's mask storage temple to pick up a mask from the ruins, and then takes the group to the underground hall in the Naka Shrine. Orochimaru proceeded to don the mask, which invoked the Shinigami to possess his body. Orochimaru then proceeds to cut open the Shinigami's stomach, a wound reflected on his own body, to release the trapped contents inside of it. With his arms restored as well, Orochimaru performed the Impure World reincarnation using 4 of the 6 white Zetsu clone spores that Jugo activated from Sasuke's body. Ordering Suigetsu and Jugo to hold 2 of the Zetsu down, the remaining 4 Zetsu are used as bodies for the reincarnation of the previous 4 Hokage. To escape death, Orochimaru transferred his being into the white Zetsu Suigetsu was holding down. Once the Hokage were reincarnated, revealing he researched the means to undo the dead demon consuming seal, Orochimaru explained that his reasons for bringing them back were for them to aid Sasuke by giving him the information he desired. When Orochimaru accused the second Hokage of being the one to cause the coup d'etat to surface, he was rebuffed by the Hokage, who later explained that he had tried to save the Uchiha from themselves. When Tobirama later declared that he was heading to the battlefield, Orochimaru's new vessel provided him with access to Hashirama's cells, allowing him to bind the Hokage. Noting that Hashirama had broken his control over him, Orochimaru is told by the first that he should first free Sasuke from the darkness which surrounded him. During this course of events, Sasuke had a flashback about a conversation he and Orochimaru had as they made their way to Konoha, where Sasuke stated that he does not believe Orochimaru's reasons to destroy Konoha were on a whim. After hearing Sasuke's decision to protect the village, Orochimaru announces that he will also help in the war effort against Madara. When Hiruzen asks him why he changed his mind after all these years, Orochimaru explains that he made an error in judgment from watching Kabuto act in his stead, and is now interested to see the result of Sasuke's different path of not letting those who sacrifice themselves for the village go to waste. Birth of the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. Later, Orochimaru arrived in the place where Tsunade and the other Kage were left severely wounded, alongside Suigetsu and Karin, commenting that Tsunade was in rather bad shape. He broke up the arguing Karin and Suigetsu and ordered them to help Katsu heal Tsunade. Later, Orochimaru, along with the 5 Kage, Suigetsu, and Karin arrive at the battlefield where the entire allied shinobi forces are struggling against Obito Uchiha, who recently became the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails. As Obito began the final stages of his and Madara's grand plan, Infinite Tsukiyomi, Hashirama had Ino Yamanaka telepathically link everyone via the mind-body transmission technique to inform everyone about the plan as well as try and rally the shinobi to keep fighting. While Hashirama's words fail to inspire them, Naruto's memories are conveyed to them via Ino's telepathy. The Sannin looked solemnly on as Naruto remembered the memorial he erected for Jiraiya. As Sasuke had Jugo transfer some of his natural energy into the Uchiha, who immediately channeled it into his complete Susanoo, Orochimaru watched on, greatly impressed at how far Sasuke has come, and notes he still had much room to grow. Later, while asserting he had no interest in the war, Orochimaru noted that Obito's plan would interfere with his experiments. He then decided to heed his former sensei's urgings and participate in the war. With his assistance, Hiruzen was able to destroy the branches of the Ten Tails into pieces. As Naruto began his great tug-of-war against Obito, Orochimaru, alongside Hiruzen, watched on as the tree's flower halted its blooming. After a momentary lull in the battle after Obito was defeated, the allied forces were attacked by Tobi, who created an enormous wooden statue to assault them. Orochimaru teamed up with his former subordinates to effectively subdue their attacker in order to make a break for Sasuke's location. He was then impressed by Karin's ability to use the chakra chains, and he was reminded of Kushina Uzumaki. As they raced towards where Karin last senses Sasuke, Orochimaru noted that the young woman was expending herself. Contemplating the situation, he wondered solemnly if this was really the end for Sasuke. Upon reaching Sasuke, they found Kabuto merging with Sasuke, seemingly to assimilate the Uchiha. When asking his former right-hand man why he came, Kabuto simply explained that his experience under the effects of Izanami made him rediscover his true identity as simply Kabuto Yakashi, and acknowledged what he had always sought was back at the Konoha orphanage. Wanting to make up for his mistakes, starting with healing Sasuke through his medical ninjutsu and instructions from Tobirama. Eventually, Kabuto succeeded in healing Sasuke, who quickly returned to his feet and was ready to resume the battle. Orochimaru was later caught in Madara's Infinite Tsukiyomi. Kaguya Otsutsuki strikes. Ultimately, he and the rest of the world are freed from the Genjutsu by Naruto and Sasuke after they ended the war. Blank period. After the war's conclusion, Orochimaru would return to conducting his genetic experiments. He also formed a truce with Konoha and the 5 great nations that he would be pardoned for his crimes under the condition that he is placed under strict 24-hour surveillance. Despite the strict watch, Orochimaru was allowed to move freely as the shinobi that watched over Orochimaru were ordered not to make any form of contact with him until he made a move against Konoha or did anything suspicious. He was even allowed to move freely in and out of Konoha. Sasuke Shinden, Book of Sunrise. Orochimaru meets with Sasuke, who's gathering information on the Dark Thunder group for the first time in a few years since the war. Orochimaru tells Sasuke to meet with En Oyashiro, who is a medical ninja but is a notorious Kekkei Genkai collector, because he may have connections to the group since its leader is a Kekkei Genkai owner. They take a boat to En's Coliseum, where a tournament's being hosted with En's clients attending to purchase the winning shinobi. Orochimaru reveals that Sasuke is a Kekkei Genkai owner himself, causing Sasuke to be forced into participating in the tournament. New Era. In the following years, between gaining a new appreciation for natural development of people and forming a truce between Konohagakure, Orochimaru ultimately re-established Otogakure as a legitimate shinobi village. At some point, Orochimaru created multiple synthetic humans such as Log and Mitsuki using his genetic source with cloning technology. Later, Orochimaru and Log orchestrated a test for Mitsuki to unknowingly participate in, which was devised for his son to find a third option that neither Orochimaru or Log presented him. Having failed the test 5 times, Orochimaru used a drug each time to remove Mitsuki's memories. On the 6th attempt, Mitsuki passed the test by rebelling against the pair to forge his own destiny himself, resulting him to want to migrate to Konoha. Supporting his decision, Orochimaru asked Naruto to take his son in, which the Hokage allowed as it was believed Orochimaru's research would prove useful to Konoha in time, as well as being critical to the shinobi world when the time came to battle the Otsutsuki clan. Sarada Uchiha Arc. 15 years after the 4th Shinobi World War, Orochimaru revealed himself to Sasuke and Naruto when the former demanded to meet him, wanting to inquire about Shin Uchiha. Naruto commented on his youthful looks, to which Orochimaru replied to not stress on the details. After a talk, he explained that Shin was in fact an experiment of his cloning technology, and that he would be glad if they took him off his hands. He then went on to lecture about the ethics of cloning. Once he finished his story, Orochimaru happily decided to tell Sasuke all he knew about Shin's whereabouts in the hope of the true Uchiha killing Shin. Later on, Orochimaru commented on the possibility of Sakura Uchiha already being dead, to which Sasuke disagreed. School Trip Arc. In the anime, when learning of civil unrest in Kirigakure and rumors of the 6th Mizukage killing off people against the peaceful expansion of his village, Orochimaru sent Suigetsu to investigate, hoping to find useful new allies. Ultimately, Suigetsu reported that the horrific rumors on Chojuro were in fact done by Shizuma Hoshigaki, who used the Mizukage as a diversion for his plans at a coup d'etat, which were stopped with the aid of Boruto Uzumaki. Orochimaru surmised that Chojuro decided to keep the actions quiet in fear of regressing the village into its darker times. While realizing that Suigetsu got directly involved in exposing Shizuma's actions, he decided to keep quiet about it, instead marveling at how much Boruto was like his father. Graduation Exams Arc. In the anime, as Konoha's academy classes began preparing for graduation exams, Orochimaru stealthily came to the village with Yamato to avoid any commotion from the villagers still uneasy about his presence. Meeting with Naruto in his office, they discussed Danzo's research he was analyzing and Mitsuki. Afterwards, he attended Mitsuki's parent-teacher conference, where he and his son met with Shino Aburame. Wanting to become a Konoha shinobi, Orochimaru allowed Mitsuki to stay in the village to become one. Versus Momoshiki Arc. In the anime, having contacted Mitsuki through their snakes, Orochimaru instructed him to not reveal his true strength, as Mitsuki wouldn't be able to remain in Konoha. Upon Team Konohamaru capturing a bear within Konoha, Orochimaru overlooked the Genin completing their mission from atop a building. Sasuke Shinden, the teacher's star pupil. On a moonlit night, Orochimaru decides to visit Mitsuki in Konoha. When he finds Mitsuki, Mitsuki is in the middle of practicing with the Lawrence gun. Although Mitsuki isn't able to perform it successfully, Orochimaru is nevertheless impressed by his progress, believing such skill is proof of being Orochimaru's son. Mitsuki is not comforted by this, as his Lawrence gun still pales in comparison to Sasuke's, who taught it to him in the first place. Orochimaru stirs at the mention of Sasuke and tries to casually offer to accompany Mitsuki the next time he trains with Sasuke. Mitsuki tells Orochimaru to stop. Chocho Arc. In the anime, Mitsuki brought Orochimaru a scroll for him to sign so he could partake in an upcoming mission, before which they had a sparring session. While Orochimaru decisively won, he applauded Mitsuki's improvement. When Mitsuki asked if he should refer to Orochimaru as his father or mother, Orochimaru said it was irrelevant as he has been all kinds of entities over the years and all that matters is one's core. Mitsuki's disappearance arc. In the anime, when Mitsuki apparently betrayed and deserted Konohagakure, Orochimaru was confronted by Yamato about it. Orochimaru insisted he was clueless about the situation. Later, Orochimaru found Boruto Uzumaki and Sarada Uchiha sneaking into his base. The boy wanted to ask Orochimaru about a last message from Mitsuki through a snake, which had simply stated that it is his will. After doing tests on the snake, Orochimaru concluded that there was no apparent hidden message, but suggested going to the White Snake Sage who might know more. After this, Orochimaru was left intrigued both by his son's random actions and Boruto's unwavering loyalty to Mitsuki like Naruto's to Sasuke from years before. Afterwards, knowing that Konohagakure would send a team to retrieve Boruto and Sarada, Orochimaru sent Suigetsu, while concealing his identity, to stall the two Genin's pursuers long enough for them to reach Ryuchi Cave. Later, learning about Onoki's passing and Mitsuki's confirmed loyalty to Konohagakure by working to stop the fabrications, Orochimaru was pleased to see how well Mitsuki was developing as a person in finding more about his true self. At the same time, Orochimaru was concerned when learning that the investigation into the development of fabrications was covered up by an unknown person, leading Orochimaru to wonder who else besides himself could create artificial humans that advanced. Jugo Arc. In the anime, when Jugo abruptly left the base to deal with a mysterious outbreak of cursed seals infecting wildlife, Orochimaru tasked Suigetsu and Karin with retrieving him. Later, Mitsuki came to Orochimaru to discuss his recent memories about Onoki and how they began flashing through his mind as dreams. The Sannin scanned his son's mind to research the memories with Log. There, they learned about how Mitsuki went through great personal discoveries about his being, wondering what choices are really his own and if he's on the right path. While Orochimaru was proud to see how much he was maturing into a true human being, he was concerned how the still raw child was reacting to such personal loss. Log voiced his disapproval of erasing Mitsuki's memories after how far they had come. Ultimately, they gave Mitsuki a choice to continue enduring these painful memories or to have his mind reset before he ever even knew about Boruto. Mitsuki decided to keep his memories and move ahead, impressing Orochimaru. Kara Actuation Arc. In the anime, after being pressured into using his Sage Mode transformation to save his teammates against Deepa, Mitsuki's body began breaking down from overusage. He was brought to Log and Orochimaru for treatment. Orochimaru was dismayed at the severity of Mitsuki's condition, noting that various organs would have to be replaced from scratch. Log noted that Orochimaru was very concerned for Mitsuki, who had simply said that he was invested so much time and resources into creating Mitsuki, not wanting it to be a wasted effort. Later, Log investigated and learned that the Hashirama cell Kara acquired was actually stolen from one of Orochimaru's old laboratories. Despite this news, Orochimaru simply said not to bother taking any action as the first Hokage's genes weren't easily harnessed. When Mitsuki regained consciousness, he asked the boy if it was worth the risk of dying to save his friends, testing Mitsuki's resolve. Later, Orochimaru found Suigetsu detaining the Genin of Team 5. Orochimaru stopped the battle, not wanting his equipment to get any more damage. He asked what they wanted from him, truly intrigued by why such inexperienced Genin would approach him. His intrigue quickly turned to shock and dismay as they simply requested for his autograph. While finding the request trivial and annoyed at the stats the trading card had on him, Orochimaru agreed to it. As he left, the Genin asked about Mitsuki's condition, to which Orochimaru said he would be fine. Noting to himself that Mitsuki had made more friends than just Boruto, Orochimaru was pleased at his son's development in Konohagakure. As Mitsuki's replacement organs were almost viable, Suigetsu returned with news of Mitsuki's team. He revealed that they returned to the Land of Valleys. While the Genin and Jonin respectively went for different reasons, Suigetsu suspected that there was a connection between the two. As Suigetsu's speculations roused Mitsuki into leaving prematurely, an annoyed Orochimaru decided to punish Suigetsu for his reckless words by using him as a test subject for another experiment. Later, after Mitsuki's recovery was sped up by Log donating his own organs, Orochimaru decided to investigate matters in the Land of Valleys personally with Mitsuki. Upon arriving, he discovered the sprouting of the god tree created by Victor. He found Mugino attempting to leave the country safely with the unconscious Valley's daimyo. He was stopped by a Kara Outer who was instantly defeated by Orochimaru after his sudden appearance. Orochimaru confronted Victor as he battled Konohamaru. When Konohamaru was shocked by his arrival, Orochimaru insisted that he was only there to make Victor pay for stealing from him. Victor remained defiant and attacked Orochimaru, showing off his advanced skill set. Orochimaru, however, easily repelled Victor's efforts, pressuring him into seeking the god tree's fruit for more power. Victor's efforts ultimately backfired as the god tree ensnared him. Orochimaru noticed that Victor's god tree was a crude imitation, unable to actually produce fruit. Orochimaru proceeded to destroy the god tree. After succeeding and the enemies defeated, Orochimaru decided to leave, noting that he had already informed Naruto about the events. Tsunade. Tsunade is a descendant of the Senju and Uzumaki clans and is one of Konohagakure's Sannin. She is famed as the world's strongest kunoichi and its greatest medical nin. The repeated loss of her loved ones caused Tsunade to later abandon the life of a shinobi for many years. She's eventually persuaded to return to Konoha and take on the mantle of the 5th Hokage, where her skills prove invaluable to the village. Background. Tsunade is the granddaughter of Hashirama Senju and Mito Uzumaki. Because Hashirama was the first Hokage of Konohagakure, Tsunade is called Princess. Hashirama doted on Tsunade when she was very young because she was his first grandchild and found her deviance and her adoption of his own gambling habits highly amusing. Tsunade inherited his necklace when he died. After she graduated from Konoha's academy, Tsunade was teamed with Orochimaru and Jiraiya under the leadership of Hiruzen Sarutobi. When Jiraiya failed to acquire a bell during the team's first bell test, Tsunade teased him, prompting her to criticize her flat chest. Despite this remark, Jiraiya had a certain interest in Tsunade from their first meeting, which only increased after her breasts developed. When she nearly killed him for spying on her while she bathed, he was forced to be more discreet about his interests. Tsunade's younger brother Naoki dreamed of someday becoming the Hokage so he could protect Konoha, their grandfather's legacy. On Naoki's 12th birthday, Tsunade kissed his forehead and gave him Hashirama's necklace in the hopes that it would help him achieve his dream. He died the next day, a casualty of the ongoing Second Shinobi World War, thus returning the necklace to her. Tsunade began advocating for the inclusion of medical nin on all 4-man squads in order to avoid further deaths like Naoki's. Hiruzen, the 3rd Hokage, agreed with her arguments, but could not dedicate resources to the necessary implementation due to the ongoing war. Dan Kato, on the other hand, shared her views, and as their relationship developed, he confided with her his dreams of becoming Hokage so he could bring change to Konoha and protect his loved ones from death. Tsunade kissed his forehead and gave him Hashirama's necklace in the hopes that it would help him achieve his dream. Although their team under Hiruzen's leadership had been disbanded, Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya continued fighting during the Second Shinobi World War. During one such fight in Amagi, they were the only three to survive an encounter with Hanzo, for which accomplishment Hanzo dubbed them Konoha's legendary Sannin. In the aftermath of the battle, Jiraiya opted not to return to Konoha so he could train with the Ame orphans. Tsunade would go on to make her own independent contributions to the war, frequently counteracting Chiyo of Tsunagakure's poisons. Though Tsunade's actions are said to have won the war for Konoha, Tsunade was unable to prevent Dan's death, and her failure to stop his severe blood loss caused her to develop hemophobia. With Dan's death, Hashirama's necklace returned to Tsunade once again, convincing some that the necklace was cursed to kill anyone who wore it other than Tsunade. Tsunade herself became convinced that achieving one's dreams was impossible and that to be Hokage was a fool's job. She therefore left Konoha, taking Dan's niece Shizune with her to train as an apprentice. Due to her hemophobia, Tsunade retired from any direct involvement in medicine or combat, instead relying on Shizune whenever a need for either came up. Search for Tsunade. Tsunade hits a jackpot while playing the slot machines in Tenzaku quarters. She takes this as a sign that something bad is about to happen and makes immediate plans to leave the city, but Shizune convinces her to visit a local castle before they go. While they're there, the castle is destroyed by a snake, Orochimaru's way of saying hello. Tsunade immediately notices the damage to his arms and, guessing he wants her to heal them, preemptively refuses. Orochimaru's assistant, Kabuto Yakushi, explains that they've tried all other options and that only Tsunade can help. She asks how his arms were damaged, to which Orochimaru responds that the damage was received while he killed Hiruzen Sarutobi. Tsunade becomes enraged and threatens to kill Orochimaru, but he piques her interest when he offers to revive Naoki and Dan Kato. Tsunade asks what he would do if his arms were restored. Orochimaru replies that he would destroy Konohagakure, which is what he was trying to do when his arms were damaged in the first place. Shizune tries to convince Tsunade to help her kill Orochimaru and Kabuto, but they decide to leave instead, giving Tsunade a week to decide. While having dinner later, they are found by Jiraiya. Jiraiya asks her to become the 5th Hokage, which she refuses, upsetting Jiraiya's companion Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade recognizes Naruto as the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails and starts remarking on what a waste it was for the 4th Hokage to give his life saving Konoha from the Nine Tails. She reflects further that all the past Hokage have wasted their lives for the village and concludes that only a fool would ever want the title. Naruto, who has his own dreams of being Hokage, is enraged and tries to attack Tsunade. Jiraiya holds him back, but Tsunade agrees to fight him outside the restaurant. Tsunade easily outmatches Naruto using only one finger for offense and defense, but she's unsettled by how similar his resolve is to Naoki and Dan's. When she's distracted by this, Naruto attacks her with an incomplete Rasengan, which she once again avoids only using a finger. She berates Jiraiya for teaching Naruto the Rasengan at all, declaring it cruel to let someone as untalented as him believe he can master something as complicated as the Rasengan. Naruto vows to complete it in 3 days, prompting Tsunade to make a wager. If Naruto can master the Rasengan in a week, she'll give him the 1st Hokage's necklace. If she can't, she gets his wallet. Naruto agrees. Tsunade and Jiraiya have drinks later. Jiraiya guesses that Orochimaru made some offer to Tsunade. He doesn't ask for details about the offer, but he promises to personally kill her if she does anything to endanger Konoha. She claims not to care about the village, so Jiraiya reminds her of how important the village was to Naoki and Dan. He further notes how similar they, particularly Naoki, are to Naruto. Tsunade keeps tabs on Naruto as he trains, but by the end of the week he has failed to master the Rasengan and the intense training leaves him bedridden. Shizune pleads with Tsunade not to accept Orochimaru's deal, and when this fails, she tries to use force, prompting Tsunade to knock her out. She meets with Jiraiya again and drugs his drink, knocking him out, and when he wakes up the next morning, making it difficult for him to use chakra. Tsunade meets with Orochimaru and agrees to heal his arms on the condition that he would leave Konoha alone. Orochimaru agrees. She approaches him, apparently to heal him, but Kabuto notices that at the last moment she has killing intent and stops her. Orochimaru questions why she would deceive him, to which she replies that she knew he was lying about sparing Konoha. Although she desperately wants to see Naoki and Dan again, she knows they wouldn't want to be brought back at the cost of Konoha's safety, something Naruto has reminded her of. Orochimaru and Kabuto state that they'll force her to heal his arms, causing her to attack them. They draw her away from the city, and Kabuto, a medic nin, tries neutralizing her, but she heals all the debilitating damage he does. Unable to stop her through conventional means, Kabuto slits his own wrists and coats her with his blood, paralyzing her due to her phobia. Jiraiya, Shizune, and Naruto eventually arrive to help. Shizune looks after Tsunade as she shudders from the blood, while Jiraiya fights Orochimaru and Naruto fights Kabuto. Naruto is quickly defeated by Kabuto, as is Shizune when she tries to face him afterwards. Kabuto approaches Tsunade and tries to restrain her, which she is unable to fend off in her condition. Naruto stops him and attacks with an incomplete Rasengan, but misses, causing Kabuto to start commenting on his lack of talent, just as Tsunade did the week before. Naruto persists, and after making a shadow clone to help him, he is able to strike Kabuto with a perfected Rasengan. Kabuto is defeated, but as his last act, he severs Naruto's heart muscles. Tsunade tries healing him, fearing that he'll die just like Naoki and Dan did. She succeeds, and in a brief moment of regained consciousness, Naruto claims the necklace he's won. Orochimaru decides to kill Naruto and attacks with his sword of Kusanagi. Tsunade uses her body to block the attack, her way of protecting Naruto, Konoha's future Hokage. Orochimaru keeps trying to attack him, which Tsunade keeps using her body to block. Her resolve to protect Naruto eventually overcomes her fear of blood, allowing her to go on the offensive. She kicks Orochimaru, activates Creation Rebirth to heal all the damage she's received, and declares her acceptance of the position of 5th Hokage. She, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru each summon Katsuyu, Gamabunta, and Manda, respectively. When Manda proves too elusive for Katsuyu and Gamabunta, Tsunade uses Gamabunta's sword to pin Manda to the ground with his mouth shut. She then delivers a series of punches to Orochimaru's face, forcing him to escape with Kabuto. Before he leaves, he warns that he has other ways of fixing his arms. Having used so much chakra during the fight, Tsunade's younger transformation fades after the battle, but it is restored before Naruto wakes up. Naruto expresses his concern that she isn't qualified to be 5th Hokage, being vastly inferior to Hiruzen. Tsunade challenges him to a fight and once again outmatches him using a single finger. Rather than defeat him, however, she kisses his forehead to symbolize her faith in his achieving his dreams, just as she once did for Naoki and Dan. Sasuke Recovery Mission. When they get back to Konoha, the villagers start making preparations to officially place Tsunade into office. Before that can happen, Naruto has Tsunade heal the damage to the minds of Kakashi Hatake and Sasuke Uchiha. She also looks at the damage to Rock Lee's spine. Although she's the only one who can fix it, she confesses that there's a 50% chance he wouldn't survive the procedure and recommends he give up on life as a ninja. After thinking it over, Lee tells her plainly that being a ninja is his dream, which she cannot argue with. In the anime, Tsunade tries to improve his chances of survival by studying one of Kabuto's jutsu, and in doing so, she improves Lee's odds to 58%. Lee ultimately survives the procedure. Being Hokage comes with a heavy workload, especially in the aftermath of Orochimaru's Konoha crush, which left the village understaffed. For this reason, when Tsunade is informed that Sasuke has defected to Orochimaru, Shikamaru Nara, only recently promoted to Chunin, is the highest ranking ninja she can assign to lead the Sasuke recovery team. She allows him any genin he can recruit for the mission, although she recommends Naruto's inclusion. After the recovery team leaves, Tsunade is notified of the Konoha Special Mission Platoon's defeat by the Sound 4, Sasuke's escorts. Having already suspected that a team of genin won't be enough, she requests Tsunagakure's support so that Orochimaru, a mutual enemy of both villages, can't gain Sasuke's Sharingan. She's also informed that Lee, despite still recovering from his surgery, has also gone off to lend support. Despite the best efforts of the recovery team, Lee and Suna's 3 Sand siblings are unable to stop Sasuke from joining forces with Orochimaru. Tsunade sends the Medic Corps to retrieve the recovery team's members and tend to their injuries. Tsunade, by studying the Nara clan medical encyclopedia, is able to cure Choji Akimichi of the 3-colored pill's side effects. Tsunade is later approached by Sakura Haruno, who wants to be taught medical ninjutsu. Seeing that Sakura has something she wants to protect, Naruto and Sasuke, Tsunade agrees. Mizuki Tracking Mission. Jiraiya makes plans to take Naruto away from the village to train him. In the anime, Naruto must remain in Konoha while Jiraiya is off investigating, and it's up to Tsunade to keep him preoccupied with other missions so he won't go after Sasuke by himself. When, during one of these missions, the legendary Stupid Brothers escape from prison, Tsunade convinces them to surrender with a quick display of genjutsu and her strength. The appearance of strange visitors. In the anime, Tsunade learns that Rock Lee and Might Guy are being impersonated by Mondai and Pacha. Deciding to have fun with the two, Tsunade pretends to believe their disguises and has them do many arduous tasks for her. The workload horrifies the two and eventually drives them away from the village. In Naruto's footsteps, the friends' paths. Sakura progresses rapidly under Tsunade's tutelage. In the anime, Ino Yamanaka also asks to train with Tsunade. From seeing the rivalry that exists between Sakura and Ino and how competition drives them each to do better, Tsunade agrees. However, she teaches Ino only the medical ninjutsu and not the additional skills she teaches Sakura, believing that it would be better for Ino to focus on her clan's hidden jutsu. About 2 years after Naruto leaves Konoha to train with Jiraiya, Tsunade proposes to Suna's 5th Kazekage that their 2 villages hold a Chunin exam. Publicly, the exam will demonstrate the alliance that now exists between their 2 villages. Secretly, the exam will hopefully draw out Akatsuki, who are after Jinchuriki like the Kazekage. The Kazekage agrees, and the 2 villages split responsibilities for the exams. She sends Kakashi Hatake to invite Amagakure to the exams with instructions to investigate rumors that Ame's leader, Hanzo, has been overthrown. Ame accepts the invitation, and Kakashi is unable to uncover anything, but both are convinced that something unusual is happening in Ame. The first stage of the exams is completed in Konoha without incident. Before the examinees and proctors relocate to Suna for the second stage, Tsunade warns the Konoha personnel to be alert for attacks on the Kazekage. The Kazekage is indeed attacked during the second stage, forcing the exams to be cancelled prematurely. Performance reports on the remaining participants are sent to the respective villages to decide who would be promoted to Chunin. Tsunade promotes the members of Team 8, Team 10, and Team Guy. She also promotes Neji Hyuga to Jonin because of his role in protecting the Kazekage. Kazekage Rescue Mission. Tsunade is informed of Naruto's return to Konoha after 2.5 years of training. She shares this news with Sakura, and together they welcome him back. Tsunade has Naruto and Sakura reform Team 7 under Kakashi's leadership. While trying to find a mission to send Team 7 on that Naruto won't complain about, Tsunade receives a report that Suna's 5th Kazekage has been kidnapped by Akatsuki. Tsunade decides to send Team 7 to lend assistance in the Kazekage's rescue in full awareness that Akatsuki wants to capture Naruto too. She isn't initially concerned, but when she suddenly wins the lottery, she takes this as a bad sign and sends Team Guy to provide additional support. A few days later, they receive news that the Kazekage was successfully rescued and that Team 7 and Guy will be returning to Konoha. Shizune questions the wisdom of sending Naruto into battle with the Akatsuki, to which Tsunade replies that because both Naruto and the Kazekage are Jinchuriki, Naruto was the single best person for the mission. Naruto Shippuden, the movie. The demon Morio raises an army of stone warriors in an attempt to take over the world. Tsunade sends most of Konoha's forces to fight these warriors. She also sends a team consisting of Naruto, Sakura, Neji Hyuga, and Rock Lee to guard Shion, a priestess who can stop Morio. Tenchi Bridge Reconnaissance Mission. When she gets back to Konoha, Sakura shares intel she's received of an opportunity to meet with a spy in Orochimaru's ranks, what may serve as an opportunity to find Sasuke Uchiha. Kakashi is left bedridden after the mission in Suna, requiring that new members be assigned to Team 7 to go meet the spy. Shizune once again questions Naruto's inclusion on the team, believing it would be safer to keep him in Konoha. Tsunade insists that Naruto is one of the few people she can trust with the mission with absolute certainty, and that besides, it's a personal matter for him and he wouldn't allow himself to be excluded. Tsunade is shortly afterwards summoned before the Konoha Council, with whom Shizune has shared her concerns, and who also believe that Tsunade is deploying Naruto irresponsibly. Tsunade repeats her earlier reasoning, adding that Akatsuki will inevitably come for Naruto, and if he keeps getting sent out on missions, it'll make it more difficult for Akatsuki to locate him. The Konoha Council relents after Tsunade promises to be held solely responsible in the event that her decisions and/or Naruto's capture endanger Konoha. They do, however, insist on including one of Danzo Shimura's underlings, Sai, on this new Team 7, which Tsunade agrees to. Tsunade also assigns an Anbu, codenamed Yamato, to lead Team 7, partly so he can keep an eye on Sai, but also because his wood release will help Naruto keep the Nine Tails under control. Although the new Team 7 does intend to meet Sasuke, they fail in bringing him back to Konoha. Naruto and the others are not deterred, however, and vow to try again, which Tsunade approves. 12 Guardian Ninja. In the anime, Tsunade sends Team 7 to investigate some grave robberies near the Fire Temple. When they return, they report that the robbers, whoever they are, have a seeming interest in the graves of members of the 12 Guardian Ninja. Because Sai was injured during the investigation, the Fire Temple allows Sora to fill in for him. Tsunade receives a confidential message that Sora's past and unusual powers pose a risk to the Fire Temple. Meanwhile, Tsunade has Danzo taken into custody on the suspicion that he's betraying Konoha to Amagakure. When she interrogates Danzo's apparent Ame contact, the Konoha Council informs her that the man is a double agent who has reported that the grave robbers may be after Sora. The counselors recommend that Sora be either confined or eliminated. While Tsunade tries to decide what to do, Sora attacks her, but he's driven off by the arrival of Shizune and Naruto. The grave robbers soon afterwards arrive in Konoha, erecting a giant barrier around the village while earthen zombies attack. While most of Konoha's forces go on the defensive, Tsunade sends Asuma Sarutobi to retrieve Sora. Sora eventually starts rampaging through the village with the Nine Tails chakra he has, and Tsunade prepares to confront him, but Naruto ends up dealing with it. Once the grave robbers are all defeated, Tsunade pardons Sora for his actions and allows him to leave Konoha. Akatsuki Suppression Mission. Tsunade receives increasing reports of Akatsuki activity in other countries. She can't do anything until they enter the Land of Fire, but nevertheless starts making preparations. Once she receives news of Akatsuki's attack on the Fire Temple, Tsunade mobilizes 20 platoons to find the Akatsuki members, capture them if possible, and if capture is impossible, to eliminate them. Although one of the 20 platoons is able to find the Akatsuki members, Hidan and Kakazu, both elude capture and Asuma Saratobi is killed. A funeral is held in Konoha while the remaining 20 platoons continue the search. Asuma's students on Team 10 leave Konoha to join the search and avenge him, which Tsunade tries to stop, citing among other reasons that they need a fourth member. Kakashi volunteers to accompany them, and Tsunade is forced to relent. Tsunade is aware that they'll need backup and starts looking for candidates. She has Sakura tell Naruto that if he would like to go, he'll first need to complete the new jutsu he's been working on. He does indeed complete it, and the Akatsuki members are ultimately defeated. Tsunade afterwards performs an autopsy on Kakazu's body, examining the damage that Naruto's new Rasen Shuriken did to it. From the cellular damage Kakazu received, Tsunade concludes that the Rasen Shuriken is as dangerous to Naruto as it is to his opponents, and therefore should not be used again. Three Tails appearance. In the anime, Tsunade receives a dying Anbu's report about one of Orochimaru's bases. She puts Kakashi in charge of Team 8 and sends them to investigate. Because the mission has the chance of meeting Sasuke, Tsunade tries to keep Naruto from finding out about it. He finds out anyway, so Tsunade allows him and the rest of Team 7 to provide backup. Their teams later report encountering the Three Tails, which Tsunade decides must be dealt with in order to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. She then sends them instructions for a seal to place on the Three Tails, some Konoha personnel to help perform the seal, as well as part of Katsuyu to provide additional assistance. Orochimaru's forces repeatedly interfere with the sealing, so Tsunade has some Anbu take over the sealing while the others return to Konoha. She later loses contact with the Anbu and the Three Tails disappears, leading Tsunade to suspect Akatsuki's involvement. Itachi Pursuit Mission. Jiraiya visits Tsunade and reports the rumors that Orochimaru has been killed by Sasuke. They share these rumors with Naruto and Sakura, who suspect that Sasuke is making moves against his brother, Itachi Uchiha of Akatsuki. Naruto proposes that they try and locate Itachi so that they can, in turn, find Sasuke. Despite how unsuccessful previous attempts to capture Akatsuki members have been, Tsunade approves the formation of a combined 8-man squad to find Itachi. Jiraiya visits Tsunade later with the news that he's discovered the location of Akatsuki's leader, though he refuses to go into more detail until she meets him for drinks. While having sake, Jiraiya shares news of Amagakure's ongoing civil war, which the Akatsuki leader is rumored to be behind. Because Amagakure is in a delicate political situation, Jiraiya must infiltrate the village by himself to confirm before Konoha can take direct action. Tsunade feels guilty for always relying on him to do dangerous work like this and reflects on happier times, before Orochimaru's apparent death, and when he was still their friend. As Jiraiya prepares to leave, Tsunade instructs him to be sure to come back alive, fearing what his death might do to her. Later, Shizune senses that Tsunade is worried about Jiraiya and tries to reassure her that he'll be fine. Tsunade replies that he won't be back, which is a new tactic she's trying. She's betting on the one thing she doesn't want to have happen, relying on her bad luck to prevent her bet from coming true.
Naruto Shippuden the movie, The Will of Fire. Hiruko, a former friend of the Sannin, declares the start of the Fourth Shinobi World War. Due to how he makes his announcement, the other villages come to believe that Konoha is aiding Hiruko's schemes, and so start amassing against Konoha. When Tsunade tries to defuse the situation, Kakashi confides in her that he met Hiruko many years ago, and was branded with a mind-controlling technique that will force him to go with Hiruko. Knowing that this will happen soon, and that Hiruko will at some point try to take his Sharingan, Kakashi asks Tsunade to place a seal in him that will activate his Mangekyo Sharingan when Hiruko tries to do so, thus killing him and preventing the war. Tsunade complies, and once Kakashi is gone, she declares him a missing nin to keep his plans a secret. She forbids anyone from going after him, but Naruto ends up ignoring her.
Six Tails Unleashed. In the anime, Konoha receives reports of an attack on the Tsuchigumo clan, and as a consequence, their forbidden technique is at risk. Because the returning 8-man squad is closest to the Tsuchigumo clan's location, Tsunade sends Katsuyu to intercept them and give them their assignment to protect the Tsuchigumo. Pain's Assault. Fukasaku, a former teacher of Jiraiya, reports to Tsunade that Jiraiya died while investigating the Akatsuki leader, Pain.
Tsunade summons Naruto to her office so that Fukasaku can also tell him the news, who they expect will have greater difficulty. Naruto is indeed upset and blames Tsunade for his death, saying that she should not have let him go. Sakura tries to stop him from storming out, but Tsunade lets him go. Tsunade makes investigating Pain's identity using the information Jiraiya gathered top priority. She has Shizune examine the animal path's body, she has Ibiki Morino interrogate the prisoner Jiraiya captured, she has Shikamaru Nara decipher the coded message Jiraiya left behind. When Shikamaru tries objecting to the assignment, Tsunade ignores him, leaves, and once she's alone, she cries for Jiraiya. Knowing that Pain will be coming for him, Naruto goes to Mount Myomboku to train with Fukasaku. The investigations into Pain's identity continue, but none are completed prior to Pain's assault on Konoha. Tsunade sends orders for Naruto to be recalled to Konoha, but she's stopped by the Konoha Council, who feel that Naruto is safest where he is. Tsunade becomes angry with both counselors and berates them for lacking even the barest faith in Naruto's ability to save himself. The counselors are affronted by how she handles them and leave, but tell her to do what she wants. Tsunade heads to the roof of the Hokage residence and summons Katsuyu, who she instructs to divide and attach to all of Konoha's villagers so that Tsunade can heal them remotely. As Katsuyu's divisions spread throughout the village, Tsunade starts to fully appreciate the extent of the damage that Pain's attack is doing. When she senses through Katsuyu that Kakashi has died, she destroys a nearby spire out of frustration. Pain's diva path eventually finds her. As her Anbu bodyguards move in to protect her, Tsunade recognizes the diva path as an orphan that Jiraiya once trained. The diva path asks Tsunade where Naruto is, which she refuses to reveal. The diva path blames Konoha's past action for the contemporary dire state of the world, and Tsunade's refusal to cooperate with Akatsuki for the attack on the village. Tsunade is unmoved, but Pain is able to find out where Naruto is through other means. Before leaving, the diva path states that it will show Konoha the pain that the rest of the world has known for too long. The diva path leaps into the air and Tsunade tries to follow. As it destroys Konoha with Shinra Tensei, Tsunade transfers all of her chakra to Katsuyu to use in keeping the villagers safe. When the dust clears, Tsunade finds the village gone. She confronts these 6 paths of pain and vows to personally defeat them. The Asura path attacks her, which Naruto, newly returned, destroys in order to save her. Naruto asks Tsunade to trust Pain's defeat to him, and has Gamakichi take Tsunade to Sakura. Having done all she can and with all her chakra gone, Tsunade's youthful transformation fades and she falls into a coma. 4th Shinobi World War Countdown. After Tsunade regains consciousness many days later, she's immediately embraced by Shizune. As she eats to replenish her chakra reserves, Tsunade is told of all that's happened while she's been unconscious. Naruto's victory over Pain, Tobi of Akatsuki's declaration of a 4th Shinobi World War, the formation of the allied shinobi forces. Kakashi discusses these matters with him and also thanks her for waking up in time so that he would not need to make her replacement as Hokage. Once she's done eating, she convenes a war council to discuss Konoha's strategies for the upcoming war and any preparations that will need to be made. A few days later, Tsunade travels to Kumonagakure to meet with the other heads of the alliance and discuss topics of broader importance. Chief among these is what to do with Naruto and Killer Bee, whose capture Tobi started the war for. The alliance's other leaders have already decided to send them into seclusion, which Tsunade strongly disagrees with, believing that they'd be invaluable on the battlefield. The 5th Kazekage quickly disagrees, reminding her that Naruto has the tendency to be reckless for his friends, which in turn would place him at too much risk. Knowing she was overruled, Tsunade reluctantly agrees that Naruto and Bee are sent to the Island Turtle. In the anime, after meeting with the other heads of the Alliance, she requested that Bee teach Naruto to achieve control over the Nine Tails in the event that they would have to be deployed, which A approved. As they move on to other matters, Tsunade takes particular interest in equipping the logistical support and medical division with enough supplies. Naruto the movie, Blood Prison. When Naruto is accused of trying to assassinate the 4th Raikage, Tsunade orders he be imprisoned in the Blood Prison despite his claims of innocence. Tsunade is fully aware that Naruto did nothing wrong, but needs to follow through in order to draw out a conspiracy rooted in the Blood Prison. Once the conspiracy is exposed, Tsunade leads Konoha's forces in rescuing Naruto from his wrongful imprisonment. Road to Ninja, Naruto the movie. The Tsunade of the Genjutsu world wears glasses, is flat-chested, and is fairly responsible, whereas the real Tsunade looks younger than her age, this Tsunade looks older than her age. Power. In the anime, Tsunade sends Team 7 to investigate the massacre of the Tonika village. When Team 7 reports Kabuto Yakushi's use of the impure world reincarnation, Tsunade sends them all available backup. Paradise life on a boat. In the anime, Tsunade sends Sakura to Benisu Island to collect medicinal herbs for the war effort. She later refuses Konohamaru Sarutobi's request to join the allied shinobi forces. Fourth Shinobi World War, Confrontation. Most of the Alliance's leaders head to the battlefield when the war begins, but Tsunade and the 4th Raikage remain at the Allied headquarters to discuss tactics, coordinate troop movements, and process new intel. On the first night of fighting, they receive reports that Naruto and B have escaped the island turtle. The Raikage takes Tsunade with him to head them off. She leaves behind one of Katsuyu's divisions in case she needs to be contacted about anything. Once they locate Naruto and B, the Raikage blocks their process and tries to convince them to return to the island turtle. Naruto implores Tsunade to let them pass, but she explains that she must do what's in the best interest of the entire allied shinobi forces. Naruto's continuing obstinance prompts the Raikage to decide to kill him so that Akatsuki can't capture him. Tsunade cannot allow this and steps in, observing that Naruto's new Nine-Tails chakra mode indicates his unprecedented control over the Nine-Tails, something that may never be replicated in future Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails. The best course, she argues, is to let Naruto use his new power to try and win the war. The Raikage is not openly convinced by Tsunade's, B's, or Naruto's words and appears willing to fight, but when Naruto is finally able to get past him, the Raikage doesn't pursue. When Tsunade and the Raikage return to the headquarters, they're informed that the White Zetsu army is cultivated from the DNA of Hashirama Senju. Tsunade is upset by the continued use of her grandfather's abilities and what else Tobi might have used them for, but believes Naruto may be able to root out Zetsus that have infiltrated the allied forces. Fourth Shinobi World War, Climax. Naruto, using shadow clones, does indeed help defeat the Zetsu army, finding those that are disguised, defeating those that aren't, and helping capture any remaining reincarnated forces. The apparent victory is cut short by the sudden appearance of the reincarnated Madara Uchiha, who proceeds to decimate the 4th Division. Wishing to join the battle, Tsunade has Mabui transfer her to the site of Madara's battle with the 4th Division, using Creation Rebirth to heal the damage that the transfer does to her body. The Raikage joins her, and they arrive in time to save the 5th Kazekage and the 3rd Tsuchikage from Madara's attack. Tsunade heals them, and after being joined by the 5th Mizukage, the 5 Kage face off with Madara. Confident they can defeat him, they tell one of Naruto's shadow clones to entrust Madara to them, and then go defeat Tobi elsewhere. Tsunade initially takes a supplementary role during the battle, healing the other Kage's injuries and replenishing their chakra as needed. She is surprised when Madara is able to use her grandfather's wood release, which they eventually discover to be due to a cloned graft of Hashirama's face that has been implanted in Madara's body. Madara senses that Tsunade is descended from Hashirama and decides to kill her first because she is so much weaker than her ancestor. She acknowledges that she did not inherit all of Hashirama's natural gifts, but does have his will of fire, which drove her to create the Ninja Art Creation Rebirth, Strength of 100 technique. After activating the technique, she joins the other Kage in attacking him. Madara is unimpressed, but Tsunade is nevertheless able to punch through his body, giving the Kazekage a chance to try and seal him. Madara eludes capture and uses Susanoo's sword to stab Tsunade. Madara assumes she's dead, but Tsunade removes the sword from her body and attacks him with it, convincing him that maybe she did indeed inherit something from Hashirama. He in fact admits that all the Kage have posed him some challenge, but claims that it's only because they outnumber him 5-1. In order to make things fair, he creates 25 wood clones, 5 for each Kage to fight. The wood clones each use Susanoo and fight the Kage into the night. Despite these superior forces against them, the Kage are able to combine forces against the original Madara, impressing him enough to use Susanoo's complete body form. Before he can use it to destroy the Kage, the impure world reincarnation is released and Madara's soul starts returning to the Pure Land. Madara uses the remaining moments before his soul departs trying to finish off the Kage. Tsunade takes responsibility for blocking his attacks, expecting that her Creation Rebirth will heal the damage, but she runs out of chakra and is left at Madara's mercy. She is saved by Dan Kato's Spirit Transformation technique, his soul having also been released from the impure world reincarnation. Tsunade uses the little time that they have apologizing to him for abandoning his dreams for so many years after he died, but that she now tries to keep his dreams alive in her capacity as Hokage. He thanks her for continuing his dream, but tells her that the greatest service that she can do to him is to stay alive, as she herself is his dream. He kisses her forehead before vanishing and transfers all of his chakra to her. Though Tsunade is rejuvenated, Madara has used this time, removing the impure world reincarnation user's control over him, thus allowing him to stay. Now free to do what he wants, Madara decides he's lost interest in the Kage and states his intentions to go after Naruto. The Kage try and stop him and thus fulfill their promise to Naruto, but Madara defeats them all and leaves them near death. Tsunade, despite being bisected in the battle, is able to summon Katsuyu. She asks Katsuyu to bring the other Kage closer to her so she can try and save their lives. Tsunade is later found by Orochimaru, Suigetsu Hozuki, and Karin. Tsunade has almost used all of her chakra on the other Kage and now lacks the energy to even speak. After assuring Katsuyu that he wants to help, Orochimaru has Karin replenish Tsunade's chakra and has Suigetsu assist Katsuyu with putting Tsunade's halves back together. Tsunade reluctantly thanks Orochimaru when she's restored and notes a change in him. A change that might have saved Jiraiya if it had happened sooner. Orochimaru departs, leaving Tsunade to finish healing the Kage. Birth of the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. Once all the Kage are healed, the Kazekage transports them to where the allied forces are fighting. Along the way, Katsuyu informs them of what's been happening up until now. As they near the battlefield, a reincarnated Hashirama Senju contacts all of the allied powers. After briefly saying hello to Tsunade, Hashirama reveals the purpose of the God Tree recreation now looming over them, to cast the infinite Tsukiyomi. Much of the infantry is thrown into disarray from fear of what will happen, but when the Kage finally arrive, they rally their forces against the God Tree. Tsunade locates Sakura and teams up with her to summon a large segment of Katsuyu, which dissolves across the battlefield so Tsunade and Sakura can constantly rejuvenate everyone as they fight. Although they aren't able to cut down the God Tree, the allies are able to help Naruto defeat Tobi, real name Obito Uchiha. Naruto leaves to fight Madara, leaving the rest of the allied forces to fight another Zetsu. Tsunade lacks the chakra necessary to participate in the fight, much less continue performing medical ninjutsu. For this reason, when the Kazekage brings Naruto to her in need of emergency life support, Tsunade sends Sakura to help him. Kaguya Otsutsuki strikes. Despite the allied forces' efforts, they are unable to stop Madara from casting the infinite Tsukiyomi, trapping the world in a dream. Tsunade dreams of a Konoha where Dan is Hokage, where Naoki and Jiraiya are still alive, and where Orochimaru never defected from the village. In the anime, while waiting to join Dan for a Kage summit, she reads a novel written by Jiraiya, titled Jiraiya Shinobi Handbook, The Tale of Naruto the Hero, despite her telling him that she had no interest in it earlier. In the novel, Konoha went through much less upheaval. The 4th Hokage and his wife survived the Nine Tails attack on Konoha, and the Uchiha clan downfall never happened. Naruto and Sasuke eventually released the infinite Tsukiyomi, freeing Tsunade and the rest of the world and thus ending the 4th Shinobi World War. Kakashi Hiden, Lightning in the Icy Sky. Kakashi is appointed the 6th Hokage after the 4th Shinobi World War ends. Yet a year after the war is over, he still has yet to officially accept the duties of the office. Tsunade continues to carry out all the responsibilities until he's ready, but also pressures Kakashi to make a decision. Kakashi requests that she wait until he completes his mission to guard the Tobishachimaru on its top secret maiden voyage. The Tobishachimaru ends up being hijacked by the Ryuha Armament Alliance during its voyage, and the hijackers threaten to kill the passengers if Konoha doesn't release their leader, Garyo, from the blood prison in Kusagakure. They also stipulate that Naruto not be involved. After being informed that Kakashi is aboard the Tobishachimaru, Tsunade summons Konoha's available personnel with the exception of Naruto. While trying to plan what to do, Tsunade is contacted by the 3rd Tsuchikage, who informs her that the secret Tobishachimaru is visible from several countries, including its own Iwagakure. Although she assures him it is bound for Kusa, he warns her that he will need to destroy it if it threatens his village, which would complicate the relationship between Konoha and Iwa. Tsunade shares this threat with one of the hijackers, Ryo, but it does not deter him. Having few options left, Tsunade decides that the ship must be destroyed before Iwa is forced to intervene. She has Ino Yamanaka tell Kakashi to do what he can, but also warn him of her decision. She leads the assembled available Konoha ninja to the blood prison to be on hand in case the worst should happen. Kakashi ultimately crashes the Tobishachimaru just outside the blood prison, thus averting an incident with Iwa. However, several passengers died during the hijacking, and the entire incident has been an embarrassment to Konoha. Tsunade is outraged by these developments and orders Kaio, the highest-ranking hijacker to survive, taken into custody. Kakashi intervenes, asking that he be allowed to pass sentence on Kaio instead. Tsunade allows it on the condition that Kakashi make it his first act as 6th Hokage, which he agrees to. After the war, Tsunade studies the material that white Zetsu are made from, and from her research is able to create prosthetic arms for Naruto and Sasuke, though Sasuke declines his. The last, Naruto the movie. 2 years after the 4th Shinobi World War, Tsunade oversees the evacuation of the Land of Fire's citizens to a fallout shelter to escape the crashing moon. Naruto ultimately prevents the disaster, the announcement of which Tsunade happily listens to. Sakura Hiden, thoughts of love riding upon a spring breeze. Tsunade meets Sakura for drinks, partially to congratulate her for her recent work with the Konoha Hospital, but also to try and convince Sakura to take it easy as she's been working harder than she needs to. Sakura changes the subject by asking how to gain men's attention. When Tsunade can't offer her any specific advice, Sakura asks that Tsunade bet against her love life, hoping for Tsunade's bad luck to play in her favor. Sakura later meets with Tsunade for drinks again, where she shares rumors that someone with Sasuke Uchiha's appearance and chakra signature is conspiring against Konoha. The appearance is easily faked, but the chakra signature has Sakura stumped. She asks Tsunade if it would be possible to reproduce someone's chakra signature by gathering large amounts of skin and hair that naturally fall off. Tsunade deems the idea plausible. Sakura is reassured, and Tsunade tells her she's happy to help, but she reminds Sakura that she's retired and that she should try to figure out things for herself. Konoha Hiden, the perfect day for a wedding. Tsunade attends Naruto's marriage to Hinata Hyuga. Yamato runs around prior to the ceremony making final preparations, which Tsunade occasionally offers advice on. New era. In later years, Tsunade continued to stay close with Naruto, watching his growth as both a family man and the 7th Hokage. She also came to know Naruto's children, especially terrifying Boruto with her temper while scolding him. 12 years after Naruto's wedding, while a 5 Kage summit was being held in Konoha, Tsunade and the other retired Kage visit the 3rd Tsuchikage to, as Tsunade puts it, get drunk and complain about things. Mitsuki's disappearance arc. In the anime, when 2 Chunin gate guards were attacked by unknown assailants, the village was put on lockdown. Tsunade soon after returned from her trip to meet with Naruto about the events. She then joined him when Ino probed a guard's minds for answers, learning that Mitsuki had left willingly with the attackers. When Tsunade asked who the boy is, Naruto revealed that Mitsuki was in fact Orochimaru's son. Tsunade was furious that Naruto would permit an offspring of the man who killed the 3rd Hokage live in Konohagakure, let alone keep it a secret from her. Naruto rationalized this on the grounds that Orochimaru's conduct had changed from before and that his aid in investigating the Otsutsuki is invaluable. Despite this, noting the unpredictable nature of Orochimaru, the meeting ended with deeming the Oto-born boy as a threat. As the council and Hokage continued to talk about how to best deal with this, Tsunade concluded that it was a waste of time to discuss the merits of Naruto's decision to allow Mitsuki into the village, and they should focus instead on how to deal with the current situation. As Tsunade continued to keep word about Mitsuki quiet and the council from taking drastic actions, questions continued to build up on Mitsuki as Naruto and Shikamaru still felt the situation didn't make sense for Mitsuki to betray them. They began wondering if the enemy's goal was Mitsuki himself because of his unique background. They then received word that one of the guards was recovering and would soon awake to give them answers. When Shikadai contacted his father via phone, he revealed that Iwagakure was taken over as part of a plan by Onoki. Knowing that they couldn't act hastily, Kakashi and Tsunade were sent to meet with the other great villages to get their support on engaging this personal matter. Time slip arc. In the anime, when a grown-up Sasuke and Naruto's future son Boruto were sent back in time shortly after Sasuke's defection, the two bumped into Jiraiya and Naruto. After, Jiraiya framed the two for his discovered peeping, but Tsunade arrived and resolved the situation. Tsunade asked about Boruto and Sasuke's arrival, and Sasuke claimed that they were traveling performers who utilized ninjutsu during their performances. Still somewhat suspicious, Tsunade ordered Naruto and Jiraiya to guard Boruto and Sasuke, proclaiming that a recently defected genin, as well as Konoha still recovering from an assault during the Chunin exams, they needed to remain on their guard at all times. They couldn't afford to let strangers walk into their village. Later, Tsunade assigned all the Konoha genin to clean up the bathhouse to make up for the commotion Naruto and Jiraiya caused there. Days later, after Sasuke and Boruto completed their mission to defeat Urashiki Otsutsuki, Sasuke used his Sharingan to erase Tsunade's memories of the actions to protect the timeline. Kara Actuation. Later, after the defeat of Victor and the fall of his company, they learned that the Elder was in league with Kara. They were horrified to learn of Victor's attempt to recreate the God Tree. Tsunade asked if it was possible Victor was the head of Kara, which was noted to be unlikely. Following an investigation of the company, they realized Kara had spies through the world. In light of this news, the question of whether or not to close the gates to the village came up. Ao Arc. In the anime, Tsunade attended the memorial service for the fallen people of the 4th Shinobi World War. There, she gave a speech to honor those people and voice her condolences to the victims' families. Kawaki Arc. In the anime, Tsunade aided Shikamaru's coordination efforts in preparation for Ishiki's invasion. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.